Code.
Good evening and welcome to the Heat Army podcast commentary this afternoon, this evening even. It's the way to start it. We'll get the time wrong. Thank you for joining us here this evening. Gateshead Vs Blyth Spartans. Again, like really, you don't need to big up any more than we already want to. It's all to play for. Gateshead, well, if they can win, they can go back top on goal difference. And Blyth Spartans will be hoping to pull themselves just a little bit more further clear of the drop zone. Well, I'll say there's only one place to go down, but they'll want to give themselves a bit more of a cushion going into the later stages of the season. My name's David Gaddis. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you here. I'm joined by Mark Carruthers. And Mark, we don't need to big this game up too much. It bigs itself up.
Well, if it did need bigging up, then I think what went on Saturday with both clubs has probably bigged it up enough, because I mean, I was at Blyth on Saturday and they were very, very poor. You know, and York aren't having the greatest season. We saw them here not so long ago, David, and York didn't really need to be anywhere near the best on Saturday if they comfortably beat Blyth. You know, I think from a Gateshead point of view, going into Saturday, there were high hopes that they could really sort of lay down a marker in the title race and see off Fylde, but that didn't happen. You know, it was a really poor result. I'm not going to say performance because I didn't see it, but given the result, you would suspect it wasn't the greatest. But I think looking at tonight, you know, both clubs will want to bounce back, and you look at the amount of players that you've got who are playing against their former clubs. We saw that up at Croft Park. I also did the commentary on Blyth Live's coverage, and Gateshead just didn't turn up that day. I've got to be honest, and the performance really surprised me. They couldn't get into a pattern, they couldn't get into a routine, but this seems to be a common theme when they play Spartans now. Spartans have had a really poor 2.5 years. You know, let's make no bones about it. They've spent the vast majority of those seasons down at the wrong end of the table. Yet Gateshead are still yet to beat them.
Yeah.
Tonight, it's down to, from a Gateshead point of view, they've got to take command of this game early on. They've got to control possession. They've got to keep possession, and they've got to make sure that when they get chances, because this is a big thing that happened at Croft Park, that they take them, because they create enough chances at Croft Park to win 4 games, never mind just 1. So the emphasis tonight is on Gateshead. Blyth would, obviously, they want to come here and win. You know, Spartans want to come here and win, but if they come here and get a point, they'll be over the moon with it. So it's a really big game.
It certainly is. On Saturday, Gateshead, you would say, were probably guilty of not making the opposing goalkeeper work. The work rate was there. You can say you make your own look in football, but sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce for you. And a couple of times that seemed to be the case. It seemed to fall to a yellow shirt that Fylde on Saturday. And the one thing you would have to point out is that Gateshead didn't get forward in numbers. There was a number of attacks when they crossed the ball into the box, and there was only Macaulay Langstaff there or Kedwin Scott. So you would imagine the management at Gateshead will be looking to rectify that and get themselves higher up the pitch and making the goalkeeper work more importantly.
Well, I mean, looking at, and obviously we'll go through the sides in a moment, but Blyth, to me, from a kind of layman's perspective, look as if they're playing 3 at the back. Or 5, depending on how.
Yeah, it depends how the wing backs are, yeah.
But obviously we'll not know that until the game kicks off and see what sort of formation they line up with. But then I look at Gates, it's very much an attacking lineup. You know, we always kind of pigeonhole Owen Bailey as a holding midfielder, but he's anything but. He's very much a box-to-box. So he can adapt his game according to how the flow of the game is going. So if Gates ever coming under a little bit of pressure from Spartans, he can drop in and protect. But by the same token, if the game is very much going in Gateshead's favour, he can take by the scruff of the neck and really attack Spartans.
He certainly can. And I would say, well, in the second half, we've seen more of Owen Bailey on Saturday, and he, as you say, he dictated the game to large parts. He would win the game midfield, distribute it, and get Gateshead attacking. But unfortunately, those attacks were, you would have to say, it was probably the worst attacking display from Gateshead this season. The creativity just wasn't there at times, or the creativity was there, but the support wasn't when the ball got in the box. We've got a couple of messages coming in. We've got one from Kieran James. He's put, "Come on the Heed." Well, thank you very much. You can do as Kieran does and interact with us. Liv Walden, she's actually here today, so we thank you for taking the time to message in. But we'd like to know where you're listening from in the world. Fully interactive. And also, while we're on, if you'd like to join us on Thursday night for the Heed Army podcast live, we haven't got our guests fully lined up yet because we're waiting to find out what the result of this game was and how the show was going to be. Very big game, and we'll be wanting to talk about all the fallout. So please do join us Thursday night in the same place on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook page, and like and subscribe. It really does help us reach more people. And talking about more people, unfortunately today this rearranged fixture has fell when Newcastle United are at home tonight, and we don't have to talk about what's going on at Newcastle United. We're in the midst of a possible revolution going on over there. Things could change tonight for the better with the new signings, but you would hope it doesn't hamper the home crowd here.
Well, you would hope it won't, but I hate to say I think it will. I mean, you look at it's hard to separate the two clubs from Newcastle United, and there's no coincidence whenever Newcastle United are home, if Spartans or Gateshead are at home, it tends to impact the crowd at Spartans or Gateshead. So that will unquestionably happen tonight. I think what may well have been 2,000, maybe 2,500.
You would like to have thought so.
You would think. I mean, that's what it was at Croft Park. You would imagine it might be that.
And can I just interrupt you there, because the first time in history that Robbie Dale, he's been a thorn in Gateshead's side for nigh on 20 years. Just got a lovely reception, a round of applause walking down the tunnel. Of course, you were there on Boxing Day, New Year, day after New Year's Day. Unfortunately, a Gateshead fan took ill, and a couple of Blyth players, notably Robbie Dale, jumped into the crowd to help. And that's a lovely thing to see. I mean, rivalries are good, but common senses and rivalries aside, that was a nice gesture.
Yeah, I mean, let's say we get to see him when he comes on later on. You know what? Robbie was brilliant that day, as were a number of medics at Spartans, the physio as well. Nish, who of course is well known here as well, Gary Nish, got into the away end and helped the man that wasn't taken ill. Sorry. So yeah, lovely to see, and some things just go beyond rivalries, don't they?
Just transcend. We've got a message from Anne Skirfield. He's put, "Hi guys, smash them." Well, we won't. Well, hopefully the team can put on a much better display here this evening. And say the viewing figures are starting to go up already. Remember, tell your friends, kickoff is about 7 minutes away here at Gateshead International Stadium. I'll go through the Blyth Spartans lineup. It's Alex Mitchell in goal, Rhys Evans, Michael Little, Nathan Buddle, Jordan Hickey, J.J. O'Donnell, Corey McKeown, Nicky Devidix, Toby Lees, Connor Thompson and Patrick Armand. And on the bench for Blyth Spartans, it's Jordan Watson, Dan McGuire, Robbie Dale, Lewis McNall and Cameron Painter. For Gateshead, we'll quickly go through the lineup now. It's Philip Marshall makes his second start for Gateshead here. Robbie Tinkler, Alex Nicholson, Lewis Story, Matty Jacob returns to the starting lineup. Owen Bailey, the captain, Greg Ollie. Danny Greenfield also gets his first start of the season. Adam Campbell, Macaulay Langstaff and Kedwin Scott. And on the bench is player manager Mike Williamson, Connor Panny, Taylor Charters and Carl Magnay. And, Gateshead always seem to put out a very attacking lineup, no matter what the combination is. Today is no different. Looking at Blyth Spartans, say I don't get to see them as often as you. I only get to see them sporadically over a couple of seasons. Looks like quite a defensive lineup here from Blyth, from the players that I know of. Yeah,
I mean, I've tried to sort of work my way through to see what the possibilities are, and I'd imagine it'll be Buddle, Lees, Armand as a back three, with Evans and Little as wing backs. Your midfield, again, trying to second guess Terry Mitchell here, will be, I think, Devidix and O'Donnell will be in a two, possibly with Corey McKeown, supporting Connor Thompson. That would be my guess at this lineup. But again, it'll be one of them, I think, where we'll see it. You are right in the sense it is slightly slightly defensive, but it does also have an ability to change into an attacking lineup because, Evans and Little like getting forward, or Donald and Devidic, I wouldn't really say they're hold midfielders. They both like getting on the front foot. I mean, JJ's in double figures this season.
Yeah.
And he'd love nothing better than get a goal here, let's be honest.
And he certainly would. Well, we hope not for our sake, as Gateshead fans. Game allowed 1-2-3 is put first time tuning into home commentary because I'm usually at the games, but I can't today, unfortunately. Well, thank you very much. Hopefully, we can bring you the game and hopefully a good result. But just looking around the stand, I did overhear a steward talking to another one. They're expecting 900 plus here in the home end. Looking over at the far end, you would say there's about maybe 200-300 over there so far. Still coming in both terraces. Of course, Gateshead in the Tyne stand and Blyth Spartans are in the east stand at the moment. Thankfully for them, it's quite a mild night here on Tyneside, and there's no roof, of course, on the other side. It's temporarily off.
I have to be honest, when I did the school run this morning, I feared for the Spartans fans because it was pouring down and I thought they're going to get soaked, and there's no cover anywhere else except the stand that we're in.
Mm-hmm. Well, on Saturday it was quite blustery here. Just looking around at the four corner flags, they're all motionless. There isn't a slight breeze here in the stand, but there always is at Gateshead International Stadium. The conditions look perfect. The pitch looks okay. We've seen it look better throughout the season, but it is February. What more can you expect? But as I say, I think it should hold up. It shouldn't cut up too much. There is one or two little patches that you can see underneath the floodlights where you can see a bit more on the left-hand side of the pitch, or at least from our viewing point. A few muddy areas there, nothing too bad. Might look worse when you're standing on the pitch, but from here, it's, I would say, 97% covered in grass. So we've got the conditions for it, we've got the pitch, we've got the teams, all we need is them out and for us to start here. So I always put people on the spot. Mark, predictions?
Do you know what? It's going to sound like a cop-out, but these games are totally unpredictable because
it's like an FA Cup game.
But for the last 2.5 seasons, Gateshead have been the favourites coming to this game every single time. And it was two draws and 2 defeats.
Yeah.
For Gateshead, 2 wins for Blyth. I think it'll be 3-2 either way. I've got to be honest. I think Gateshead are favourites again, but that's mattered little in the last 2 years. But I think looking at that front three of Campbell, Langstaff, and Scott, if they get it moving, Gateshead will be heavy favourites. But there's always goals in it. Let's be honest. There's never been a 0-0, so I'll go 3-2 either way.
Well, let's hope there is goals, but hopefully in the favour of Gateshead. If you're a Blyth fan,
was that a cop-out?
I don't know. It's a cop-out. No. It is. It's one of those games that can be on a knife edge and hard to call. But hopefully Gateshead can come out on top here. And we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, if you're just joining us, Gateshead, it's in their hands to go top of the league tonight, and be level on games. Even if teams below them can't catch them, even if they do go top, if they play to win their games in hand. But the teams come out now, and you can hear the crowd behind us as Greg Ollie leads out the Gateshead side onto the hallowed turf here at Gateshead International Stadium. Gateshead in their black and white checks, Blyth Spartans in a maroon with orange trim. And say J.J. O'Donnell is the last Blyth player to enter onto the pitch as they line up. And this is how Gateshead line up. It's Philip Marshall in goal, Robbie Tinkler, Alex Nicholson, Lewis Story, Matty Jacob returns to the lineup, Owen Bailey, the captain, Greg Ollie, Danny Greenfield makes his first start of the season, Adam Campbell, Macaulay Langstaff and Kedwin Scott. On the bench is Mike Williamson, Connor Panny, Taylor Charters and Carl Magny. For Blyth Spartans, it's Alex Mitchell, Rhys Evans, Michael Little, Nathan Buddle, Jordan Hickey, J.J. O'Donnell returning back to Gateshead Stadium for the first time since leaving in the summer. Will he haunt us? Let's hope not. Corey McKeown, Nicky Devidic, Toby Lees, Connor Thompson, Patrick Armand, and on the bench is Jordan Watson, Dan McGuire, Robbie Dale, Lewis McNall and Cameron Painter. And one noticeable thing here is that the amount of former players, mainly on Blyth side, there's a few former Blyth players on the Gateshead side, but the stories write themselves, don't they, in these games?
Yeah, I'm just looking. I think Nicholson and Langstaff have both played it at Blyth. Well, on the other side, on Blyth side, obviously you've got a fair few there, like Puddle, O'Donnell, Devidic, Lees, Thompson,
McNall. Yeah, there's a fair few there. But
I don't know why I always think Michael Little played here.
He did. He was on loan from Sunderland. Yeah.
So, the other stories are there to be written, but I think it's just going to be one of those nights where it's such a cliche, but the first goal is going to be huge, because I think if Gateshead get it, then, and it sounds daft saying this because they did get it early in January, but I think if Gateshead get it here and start dictating the game, then the Spartans are going to have an uphill battle. That said, Spartans get in front, they'll have something to hold on to, and playing three at the back, they're going to be a tough nut to crack.
And it certainly is. We've got a couple of messages. We're about to kick off. Gateshead are shooting from right to left, shooting towards the River Tyne, Blyth towards the Felon end. Kieran James went 3-0. Let's go, boys. And we've got a message from Simon Jeffrey. Attack. Huge home win tonight. Back top. Well, that's what it's at stake here. And I'm sure Mike Williamson and Ian Watson have been reiterating that on the training pitch and in the dressing room. And we're underway as the ball is with Lewis Story. And Blythe quickly closed down there as JJ O'Donnell. Trying to close down, but the ball comes over the top for Kedwin Scott. But that'll bounce all the way through to Mitchell in the Blythe goal, who's in all light blue. And we'll mention Marshall, he's in all pink. So the scene is set and we're underway. Someone hasn't turned the speakers off properly here. We have put an FX mic on tonight to try and capture the crowd a bit more. And, we're picking up the bad speaker above us. But hopefully someone will rectify that.
Just having a look here, it does look as if Spartans have started with
the three centre-backs.
Three centre-backs.
I don't think they'll cross the halfway line much this in the game as it goes on, but we'll see. So
just looking at, I think obviously Hickey and Davidics will sit, and then you're probably looking at O'Donnell and O'Donnell and McKeown supporting Connor Thompson, who does look to be very much starting up top.
A little plays the ball forward, intercepted though by Bailey. Bailey lays it off to Tinkler. Tinkler tries to pick out the run of Macaulay Langstaff, and Gateshead putting the keeper under pressure, but he's got plenty of time to put that out. Is it going to bounce out in the far side? No, it's been kept in. Nicky Davidics managed to keep it in there. Of course, played many a game here in 2 stints. But the ball has went all the way through to Marshall from the Blythe clearance. The youngster on loan from Hartlepool, from Aston Villa in goal for Gateshead. This ball has been played over the top for Langstaff to chase onto. Manages to keep it in, but his touch just sees that go out, and it's a throw in on the far side near the corner flag.
Yeah, like I said, there weren't too many positives for Spartans on Saturday, but Patrick Ormond, he's playing left side of that front, back three tonight. He was impressive. He's on loan from Sunderland for the rest of the season. I was really impressed with him.
Well, the ball's bounced through, and Blythe, JJ O'Donnell brings it down, manages to turn it well, hooks it across. And is it going to be kept in here? Well, it has. He's kept it in as Rhys Evans. And Rhys Evans just couldn't control it, and Jacobs intercepts, but it comes off a Blythe player for a throw-in. It came off Connor Thompson.
100-mile-an-hour start, isn't it?
It certainly is. And Blythe, the very quick close down. And Rhys Evans is just hobbling here. I think he might have caught his ankle there in that for the ball. And he was hobbling straight away. So we'll see if he's all right. He seems to point to his ankle from here. So it's 0-0 if you all just join us here at Gateshead International Stadium. Remember, do share the commentary. We'd love to have more people join us. Let us know where you're listening from in the world as well. And Keith Allen? Good to hear the crowd gives a great atmosphere. It certainly is. There we go. They fixed the speaker. It's gone. It was quite annoying for us.
I thought it was my brain for a moment.
I know. No secret, we've got microphones here and headphones on, and that was just really vibrating in our heads. But JJ O'Donnell does well to come away with it all. Matty Jacobs with a fantastic tackle. Campbell lays it off to Greenfield, but Ollie Pinson over the top. Now, Kedwin Scott chases the ball down, and it's had to be hooked out there by Toby Lees. And the crowd really on Gateshead's side when the ball went forward. Matty Jacob ready to take this throw in here. As Campbell receives it, lays it off to Owen Bailey. Tries to pick out Jacob, and JJ puts it out for a throw-in.
I mean, we're only 4 minutes in, but it's 100-mile-an-hour both sides, isn't it? No one's really taking control of this game. It's gone back to front.
There's a lot of pressure from both sides. There isn't much space to pass the ball. I doubt that could happen for 90 minutes, but Campbell nearly received the ball. JJ picks it out and plays it off Jacobs for another throw-in. Yeah, I think we might have maybe a nervy 10-15 minutes here until the game settles down.
Are you allowed to just call him JJ?
Well, he's been on the podcast many times, so I think we can go with that. And I think everybody knows who it is.
Look, what he did for this club and what the club did for him was unbelievable. You know, JJ. I know, obviously, he is from a Gateshead point of view on the other side now, but let's be honest, he'll be forever remembered for what he did here.
He certainly will. Regardless, apart from that goal, that obviously sealed the trip to Wembley. His service as well, all round, was absolutely fantastic for Gateshead. As Jacobs nods the ball forward, it's still very scrappy. Out it goes for another throw, and Rhys Evans is really struggling here. He kicked that one and he went down again. I think we're going to see a substitution pretty quick from Blyth Spartans.
I think you're probably looking at the sub. Wouldn't be shocked if it's either possibly Cameron Payne that can come on and plays the right side of wing back.
Well, see Hickey has the ball, plays it all the way back to Mitchell. Mitchell clears the ball up, looking for JJ O'Donnell. It bounces through for Connor Thompson, but Jacobs there to hoof it back to Marshall, who takes a touch. I was never in panic there. It was a very calm and collected little chip on up there, but now Gateshead on the counter attack. As Kedwin Scott plays the ball through for Owen Bailey. He's into the side of the box, pulls it across, falls to Greenfield. Can he finish it? Oh! And now Ollie on the edge of the box, he screams for shoots. Oh, past the post. And Gateshead with the first attempt. And that was a good counter-attack.
It really was. And I love how composed Greg Ollie was. He had all the time in the world on the edge of the box. I think Mitchell probably just about had it covered, but he was certainly scrambling. But it's a good start from Gateshead.
It is. So far, we'll keep it going. Could you put that over there for me, Mark, in the middle of the table? I'd hate to see Gateshead score and not catch a Niall Bromley's face. All right. As Gateshead collect the ball. Oh, lovely dink over the top for Langstaff to run on to Mitchell's quickly off his line. Good goalkeeping.
That's one thing you do get from Alex Mitchell. He's very, very quick off his line. Something I've noticed a few times this season.
Well, Rhys Evans is still got a little bit of limp in his walk, but he's still moving all right. He's still high up the pitch. He was waiting for the ball, but Campbell turns now. He's quickly closed down. Well, it's going to be a foul, is it? Yes, and Gateshead get a free kick here, and I thought they might have went the other way there. As Campbell did put a foot in on Hickey when he was covering the ball.
He did. Yeah, that was a bit sneaky, wasn't it? I think the sub's coming now.
Yes,
Cameron Painter will come on at right wing back.
You can see he's still trying there, but when he touched the ball earlier on, about a couple of minutes after he had the initial injury, you could see he effectively wins there. So Cameron Painter is going to come on here, and there we go. We'll just wait for the substitution to happen as Painter comes over. You can see now it must be starting to sting a little bit more for Rhys Evans, and he leaves the pitch. But Painter is on now, number 16, and it's a like for like, as Mark said, straight into the right wing back position.
It is in some sense, but Cameron is more midfielder, if I'm honest. But he can play as a right back or right wing back. Came from Grimsby, released by Grimsby Town last summer. Came to Blyth, and he's not had too much of a chance so far.
Well, he gets his chance here in the big game as the ball's played over the top, and that's asking a lot of Danny Greenfield, but he's still chasing it down, and out it goes for the goal kick. Well, we are 8 minutes in. We have had a stoppage for the initial injury to Rhys Evans and the substitute, so it has it to be a minute at least of added on time at the end here, but still a long way to go to get there into the 9th minute. 0-0 if you're just tuning in. Was taken short, played out to Painter, who gets his first touch. Plays it back to, I think it's Buddle there that played. No, it isn't Buddle, sorry. There's a ball nodded by Bailey to Nicholson. Gateshead having to pass it around the back at the moment. Tinkler passed it back to Marshall. Marshall clears the ball with purpose all the way up towards Kedwin Scott, but Buddle's there to win the header, but Greenfield picks up the second ball. Now plays it to Jacob, who did well to keep it in. It was a hard ball that to keep in, but it's played back to Story inside the Gateshead half. Greenfield all over the pitch at the moment. He must be relishing being back out there. It's great to see. Of course, he had a fantastic season in the season that was curtailed last year, and which earned him a trial at Sunderland, and reading between the lines, it seems that he was just in that strange age bracket for Sunderland to take a risk on him, on signing him, because they like to sign younger players and put them in the under 23s.
Much the same as Kevin Scott was at Newcastle. By all accounts, did very well, impressed Newcastle and didn't get his chance because of his age, which begs the question, why take him on trial?
Yeah, well, Campbell puts the ball over the top. Can Kevin Scott bring it down? He has. Can he lay it off? Macaulay Langstaff, can he finish it? He can! Get in! 1-0 to Gateshead. Beautiful run from Kevin Scott. He brought it down and laid it off. And Macaulay Langstaff, calm, composed, and found the back of the net.
Yeah, Spartans just caught out at the back there. I think that back three, just no communication between them. And you look, it's a great first touch, by the way, from Kevin Scott. He's brought it down out the air, plucked it out the air, kept his composure. A lot of strikers would have went for goal from there, but he's rolled in to Macaulay Langstaff, who's just took his time. I did say I think Gateshead need an early goal, and they've got that now. It's now about what can they do.
Well, there was a brief second where I was looking at the linesman because he was in acres of space. He timed it beautifully. The defence stayed static, but Gateshead now they've took the lead here on 10 minutes. And they'll need to keep the composure because Blythe will want to get straight back into this.
Yeah, I mean, the focus now is on Blythe. We mentioned that they've got a bit of a...
Connor Thompson, can he keep the ball in the dead ball lane? He can. He crosses it deep. There's nobody there, and that's going to go out for a throw on the far side.
We mentioned that they have got a bit of a defensive lineup. Although I think, again, I will say, I think it's got a chance to maybe try and hit Gateshead on the break. But now the focus is on Spartans to really try and take this game to Gateshead. But great start for the Heat.
Well, we've seen Connor Thompson, who is very much like Gateshead strikers. He'll chase everything down there, and he managed to get that cross across to another throw into Gateshead on the far side. But
cross across.
The cross across, yes. It was that good. I had to say it twice. But you always feel for a lone striker like that because they're going to do a lot of the unsung work. They're going to chase it down, and if there's nobody in the box behind you after you've done that, it's got to be frustrating.
Well, I'm just sort of looking how Spartans are lined up now, and it kind of looks as if JJ's playing right side of the midfield three with McKeown pushed up top alongside Thompson.
And
so just kind of like a 5-3-2.
At the moment, they're trying to apply pressure on Gateshead play from the back, which is probably a sensible thing to do, but the ball's intercepted in midfield out. It goes off Devidic for a throw in about 10 yards inside the Spartans half on the far side.
I think the thing is as well, looking at Spartans, they're playing quite a high line, which is
Well, the ball over the top now, and keeper again, Mitchell, fantastically aware in his area there.
When you look at the pace that Gateshead have got top end of the pitch, it's dangerous game to play.
It certainly is. I'm just trying to see the shirt number. Is that Armand that's closest to us on the
left?
On the left. There we go. Yeah, just went with that right. Toby Lees.
Buddle in the middle, Lees on the right.
Yeah. It's hard not to be able to notice Buddle. He's a man mountain, isn't he? While we wait for this throw here. Gateshead fans enjoying themselves at the moment as the ball is nodded back by Greenfield there, and that's JJ's going to say that out for a throw. And very noticeable, you can see JJ's giving 110% here against his old club. Slight push in the back from Ollie on McKeown.
It's a great atmosphere.
It certainly is. Just looking on the stand, good crowd as well. Hopefully, I think it's safe to say it'll be over 1,000 here at Gateshead International Stadium. We dare to think what it might have been if the game hadn't been clashed with a Newcastle United game. But we couldn't help that with it being a rearranged fixture and it needed to be played. As Connor Thompson lays it off. A handball there from number 10. That was JJ O'Donnell.
He's unlucky there, JJ.
It bounced up on him. Ball over the top to try and pick out Macaulay Langstaff, but seen out well there by Ormond. And now JJ turns on the ball. He tries to pick out the run of Connor Thompson, but now the ball is played over the top. Buddle and Scott in a battle there, but the ball falls to Greenfield, who didn't get the connection he wanted. He tried to ping that out to Macaulay Langstaff, and it just didn't get there. Mitchell clears it all the way up the pitch, but Robbie Tinkler's there. Plays it back up to the danger zone, and a crucial header there from Michael Little.
I really like Michael Little. I think he's one of the better left backs in the league. Vastly experienced, did well when he went to Darlington as well, and his first spell at Blythe, he was instrumental in getting them to establish this level.
Well, Blythe passing around the back at the moment. Now Mitchell goes long. Nicholson wins the header now. Story can nod it on. Nodded again by Ollie. Scott tries to bring it down. Now Hickey dispossessed, but it falls back to Nathan Buddle, the Blythe captain. He tries to play it through, takes a deflection, and Jacob can calmly pass that to Owen Bailey, who can carry the ball forward himself. Picks out Campbell, just turned into the defender, but it was good placement there. And the ball's going to go all the way back to Marshall, who can clear this up the pitch. Seems very good with his feet, and I think that's something the Gateshead goalkeeper needs to be the way we play. But a beautiful ball, the curling run of Langstaff. Can he get his second? He's one-on-one with the keeper, goes for it into the keeper's shins, and it's going to fall to Greenfield, who goes for a shot. There's more of a pass. And out it goes.
It was. Yeah, but Blythe again, just I mentioned about playing a high line, just getting caught out every time. It seems to be just looking at the kind of right side of this back three. Kedwin Scott and Langstaff are just arcing the runs beautifully to get him behind, and Blythe have got a real issue between, I think it's Buddle and Lees. Just a little bit more communication needed, maybe sit a little bit deeper for now, just to ride out it's not quite a storm, but they do need to maybe just talk a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's, as I said, the early exchanges, Blythe did try to play it, and it kind of went a little bit long, and a bit surprised Gateshead's going a bit long, but they're getting a lot of, and Greg Ollies took a clatter on the ankle there as the referee stopped it. He's back up there. But yeah, we've seen the opening exchanges, Blythe trying to play football, and it looked like they were going to be a little bit dangerous, but they've resorted to just clearing the ball. As you see, a little bit of pressure from Gateshead, and obviously it's working out in Gateshead's favour at the moment.
Look, this is the thing with this Blythe side. They will try and play football.
Greenfield picks out Scott in space, and McCall Langstaff was offside. He's trying to bend the ball there. Ollie and Langstaff had got in. Langstaff is... I think he got a little catch on the ankle there, or hopefully not a hamstring or calf there, but he's all right. Hopefully. Gateshead's goal scorer. Once the ball is played up, it's not really a hard pitch. It's not one of them pitches where you would expect players to get ankle and hamstring injuries. Seems all right. Ball's bouncing nicely as well. Kedwin Scott brings that ball down. It was like glue on his foot there. As lovely play, picks out Jacob, and he looked forward. He's got Greenfield, who he tried to pick it up and nearly went through to Macaulay Langstaff, and Blythe able to clear and quickly played it over the top for Connor Thompson. And I think he had a little bit more time than he expected there.
Do you know, Connor Thompson's made a great run there. He's made a perfect run. Faced up Louis Story, and that ball's just got to be, it's got to be better.
Painter fouls Greenfield about 15 yards inside the Gateshead half near the centre circle. It's quickly taken to Jacob. Jacob happy to pass it back to Story and his peppermint boots. There's Owen Bailey. I see ball got stuck under his feet a little bit there. Managed to get it forward, but only as far as a Blythe player, and that's come off Campbell for a throw in front of the dugout to Blythe Spartans.
You can really sense Gateshead want to keep this intensity up. They want to keep taking the game at the Spartans. They're not giving them any time on the ball. And I think looking, from a Spartans point of view, you'd be looking for Connor Thompson, you'd be looking for Corey McKeown. Just do a little bit more up top and give, a few more runs like we just saw there. Just wasn't found there, Thompson. But at the minute, they're not really doing the job I think Terry Mitchell would ask of them.
Well, if you are just joining us, it's 18 minutes gone here. Gateshead 1, Blythe Spartans 0. Macaulay Langstaff with the goal, and Gateshead in possession again as Bailey plays it to Nicholson. Now it's with Tinkler on the right-hand side. Back to Nicholson. Gateshead happy just to pass this round. And you mentioned before, Blythe, they've got numbers back in 2 rows there, but very high line as Jacob plays it inside to Greenfield. Greenfield just slows it down. Intelligent play. Campbell's in space, too much space.
I'll tell you what as well, Greenfield had 3 great runs at the top end of the pitch.
Well, that ball didn't get through to its target, but it'll go for a Gateshead throw, fortunately. Now, Ollie turns his man. He's ran into trouble. It was a good block from Blythe Spartans, and now twist and turn at the other end there, trying to pass it out of play, but good pressure from Gateshead as the ball bounces over Greenfield, and J.J. O'Donnell now picks up the loose ball, plays the ball out to McKeown. McKeown driving forward. He's got 2 players in front of him. Gateshead players trying to defend. He's dancing around. He's still got it on the edge of the area. Lays it off. Now it's going to be crossed into the box. Nobody there. Jacob can clear it, but only as far as a Blythe shirt. And Blythe now looking to get this ball forward or across to Painter. Painter needs still a target in the box, but Blythe's still in possession as Hickey plays it inside Gateshead. Break-up play. Can they get the ball forward as Hickey? Did he foul Greenfield? Referee says no, played it on. And Blythe's still in possession. Now, trying to build down the left-hand side as it's with Davidix. Davidix has to play it back. Blythe happy just to have some possession of the ball at the moment. Played through to Davidix. Davidix nearly danced past Greenfield, but he's still got it. Dinks the ball forward for the run, and fortunately gets through, and Lewis Story, no nonsense, puts that out. That's better from Blythe.
That is a lot better from Blythe. You know, that's the first really controlled possession they've had so far.
Well, it's starting to get a bit of a rhythm of the game now. Not as scrappy as it was in the opening 15 minutes. Well, Blythe got the ball, having to go move the ball backwards though to stay in possession. Ball played across. Oh, and that's unfortunate for the Blythe defender there. Just skipped past him and out it goes for a throw into Gateshead near the Blythe dugout. Toby Lees, it just bounced up on him there, doesn't it? I mean, the pitch looks incredibly flat from here. You would just say that was a misjudged one, that one.
Sometimes when you're down there, up here, you know, you get a bit of a false opinion of what it looks like.
Definitely. Well, we've seen that on Saturday, unfortunately for Lewis Story. And the ball goes across to Nicholson now, who plays a ball for the run of Jacobs. Can he win the header? He's driving it down. Can he keep it in? Well, it was a big effort to do so, but he turned and Kung Fu kicked into thin air, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, good tracking from Cameron Painter there. He's only a young lad, and he's only 18, but tracked Matty Jacob very well.
Well, it was a crucial one to stop Matty Jacob from getting there, because he would have been into the box. We've got to be able to bring that down. Oh, lovely control from Campbell.
It's a run.
Now offside if he does go for that, but the ball's going to go all the way through to Mitchell. Just Kedwin Scott, probably about 2-3 yards off. Noticeable though. As the ball's played forward by Blythe to Connor Thompson, who tries to turn his man. Ball goes all the way through to Marshall.
Just been a little bit too much of that from Spartans, hasn't there? That long ball into Thompson's just not quite worked for them.
Well, we're just seeing Rhys Evans go down the tunnel there. He wasn't walking too gingerly, but hopefully he's not out or miss any more games. I don't wish that on any player. It's Campbell. He's deep and plays it all the way back to Marshall. Marshall clears the ball out to the right-hand side. Little wins the header. It's going to fall to Davidix. Davidix manages to hook it to McKeown. McKeown having to drop deep to get involved. The ball from Little over the top. And I think that will go out of... Well, no, it's kept in, actually. Deceiving from where we are. As the ball's played over the top from Blythe. It's just a bit of a hot potato, really, to get rid of it at times there. And now... and
Someone get the ball down and play with it.
Yeah. Well, we went from the scrappy opening 10 minutes to having a bit of play, and then it went a little bit scrappy again. But Blythe trying to build down the left-hand side as McEwen tries to open up, but Bailey's there to cover the run and make him play the ball backwards. And it goes all the way back to Mitchell in the Blythe goal. Blythe managed to get the ball through, and Davidix picks up the loose ball, manages to find McKeown, who's has to cut inside. Is he going to go for a shot there? He looked like he was going to open up his body, but picks out Painter on the right-hand side of the box. He's looking to cross it in. There isn't too many red shirts in there yet. The ball comes in. It wasn't too great. If he had had a better delivery back towards the penalty spot there was about 4 maroon shirts, should we say, coming in.
I think it's one of them where he's just looked to just get anything in the box rather than getting his head up. And, you know, he's done well to get round Jacob. All he needed to do is just take his time, see what was in the box. But I think he's just literally put a cross in for the sake of it.
Now we're just starting to see Blythe, I don't think intentionally, but just slowed down the pressing a little bit here. They're allowing Gator just to stand on the ball. The opening exchanges, we did see the Blythe forward line really pressuring, but the ball's going to fall. Oh, I thought it was going to fall to Campbell there, deceiving angle here. But Kedwin Scott battling with Painter. Oh, lovely bit of skill. Just lobs Steve O'Donnell. And GG with a cynical foul there. The referee hasn't seen it. As the linesman, nothing's given, but Gated on the attack now as Macaulay Langstaff pulls it back. Oh, it's gone out for a corner on the far side. Well, I think the referee's going to be pulled back here. The linesman did see it, but he didn't flag. He allowed play to go on. Wow. They obviously going to have a chat here. Well, no. Well, what was the point in coming back? He definitely caught the ankles.
Just going to see what if he is going to do anything about that.
Well, he hasn't.
He's heading towards.
Well, he is marching with purpose. I mean, Kedwin Scott's having a long chat with him. He isn't happy. I don't think we're going to see anything. Nope. Here comes the corner from Greg Ollie. Greg takes about 4 steps back. There's a lot of jostling in the box. In comes the ball. Oh, shot off from Lewis Story wide. But yeah, that was a bit of an interesting one from the referee there.
Yeah, it looked as if O'Donnell just left something on Kedwin Scott, but
after he had been showboated, should we say?
Well, no, I think it's just a good bit of play, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
But looking at the referee's come over, and obviously the linesman told him it wasn't a bookable offence, so he's got away with it.
Well, Story wins the header forward. We've got a message from Declan Blythe, who's Gateshead just dispossessed there. Away Blythe. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I thought you'd be listening to our counterparts along the table. We'll tell him at half time that you've turned on him. As Gateshead now have to defend this ball. It's coming back, and Nicholson will just put that out of play on the far side. Well, 25 minutes, 26 minutes. Probably the game I expected, to be honest, before kick-off. Bit of blood and thunder, and it's all to play for. As Blythe win another throw-in on the far side of the pitch. Blythe fans in that stand behind, but they're congregated towards the north end of the east stand.
I wonder if they'll move.
I don't think they'll be allowed to. I wonder if that's where they've been told to the section they're out to be in. But Blythe go for a cross looking for Painter, but Jacob with a fantastic clearance there, and it might even turn into a foot race. No, Buddle's there just to head that towards Toby Lees, who clears it over his head. Nodded inside towards J.J. O'Donnell, who brings the ball down, lays it off to Painter. Painter has to play it back to Lees. Blythe with some good passing there, as Hickey now can pick out Nicky Devedix, who carries the ball forward on the left-hand side of the pitch, picks out Little. There's some Blythe players in the box. In comes the cross. Connor Thompson brings it down, but Gator players there to cook it away. And now Gator can clear their lines as they await the ball back, as Hickey receives it inside the Gator half. Has to play it back to Buddle.
Just get a sense Spartans are growing into this a bit.
Yeah. It's, I think they've cottoned on when they pass the ball. They have more success, but nice bit of play by Macaulay Langstaff, and equally from Devedix to stop him from getting away, but Gateshead still in possession. Macaulay Langstaff now plays a nice ball to pick out Devedix on the halfway line. Carries the ball forward himself. He's got Ollie in front of him. He's got Campbell on the inside, but those were closed down. Greenwood passes it back to Story. And Story now looks to get the ball forward. Goes for the cross-field ball to Jacob. He brings that down well, and the offside flag went up. I did think when it was initially played, but came up late.
It's one of those frustrating ones where he's looking right along the line, so really shouldn't be offside.
Well, free kick to Blythe Spartans. If you're just joining us, Gateshead 1, Blythe Spartans 0. Macaulay Langstaff with the goal that deafened Mark Carruthers.
A little bit. Good effort.
Goes all the way through to Marshall, who... Well, I'd just like to see a goalkeeper grab the ball. Not do keep-ups, but we're doing all right at the minute, as Bailey picks out a nice ball towards Tinkler, who nods it inside for the run of Ollie. Ollie keeps it under control. Nice stuff from the captain. He turns in on himself now, goes for his shot, and just didn't get the curl it wanted and went past the far post of the keeper.
There aren't too many players in this league better than Greg Ollie, and I think we've just seen an example of why. Just a lovely run, so composed. Tried it on his left foot, and didn't look too far wide.
Certainly didn't, as Painter has to clear this one down the line and bounces. It stayed in, but it headed out by Owen Bailey, and a little bit of
kidology.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. As the ball goes back out to play for another Blythe Spartans throw in front of the Gator dugout. Mike Williamson, of course, on the bench. Should he be required this evening? As Hickey looks to play, well, he had played that earlier. Little was in space, but he's had to pass it back to Armand. Armand now carries the ball forward, now lays it off to Little, and I think it's gets past his man. Good stuff from Little, still going down the left wing, but there's a few Gator players around him. Now McEwen has the ball, dispossessed, and Ollie's going to pick up the loose ball, driving forward, and good tackle there from, I think it was McEwen that was getting back there. Force the Gateshead in midfield, and they play it back to Lewis Story. Story passes out to Greenfield. Greenfield crosses the halfway line. He's got some players in front of him. Has to find Campbell. That's a nice run. But can he get some support? Can he get the ball into the box? He's got Toby Lees with him and plays it. Painter, and he plays it off for a corner.
Some good game, Campbell.
Yeah,
just playing in behind that front two, and just causing little problems for Spartans. They're really struggling to sort of keep track of him. The little runs that he's making out wide and gets to the edge of the box. They're not really. I think someone needs to take responsibility for Blyth, and certainly maybe he's doing a man-to-man job on him. But at the minute, they're just not really coping with him, Campbell.
Well, 30 minutes gone, and Gateshead 1, Blyth Spartans 0. Greg Ollie, the captain, comes over to our near side here to take a corner to Gateshead. There's a few players on the goal line here. 1 or 2 jostling round at the penalty spot. This one comes in close and back-headed there, and it's going to be hooked clear by Blyth Spartans. Campbell's waiting for it underneath, goes for an audacious shot, and he got a good connection with it, just didn't hit the target.
Ambitious. Ambitious.
Goal kick to Blyth.
I think looking at Spartans, after conceding so early, they'll have been very wary of letting the game get away from them, and I think what they've done well is
Hickey managed to get past the oncoming Ollie, and he drives into space, still driving with the ball. Has to cut back on himself, lays it off to Painter, and now Blyth pass it back to Toby Lees there, and Toby Lees sees the ball come up to Hickey. Hickey, poor ball. Now Gator can try and break here in numbers. There's a ball to Ollie. Ollie's got Macaulay Langstaff. He's got Kedwin Scott to pick out. He tried to pick out Kedwin Scott, and it was just a foot from a Blyth Spartans player. Managed to clear it, and Gigi O'Donnell's went down in a heap there. He did get clattered from behind, but he needs some consistency from the referee.
I think Jordan Hickey's just got to be a little bit careful. It was a lovely turn on the edge of his box, midway inside his own half, I should say, and he's got away from Ollie, but then just a little bit of lack of movement ahead of him is just sort of limiting his options.
Yeah.
I do like Jordan Hickey. I've been really impressed with him since he's went to Blyth, but I think he needs to a little bit less adventurous on the ball when he's sort of last man in midfield.
I think there was Gateshead there as well. We went a little bit narrow on that attack. I would like to have seen one of the strikers peel off to the wing, give a better option. But Nicholson clears the ball out on the far side for a throw-in.
I think Blyth would be reasonably pleased with the second 15 minutes of the half.
Yeah, I think see it on this pitch, but Gateshead now break. Can they get the ball forward? And the ball nearly got through there, and Blyth pick up the ball on the left-hand side, play it down towards Little. Little looks to cut inside himself, picks out a Blyth Spartans player, McKeown, dancing with the ball, gets it back to Little. Not many options for him, intercepted by Greenfield, and Gateshead need to get this ball up the pitch as Nicholson didn't have many options there, but he put it back to Marshall instead of putting it out, and Marshall clears it for a throw-in on the halfway line on the far side.
Is that how you pronounce it?
It is Marshall. I'm guessing with the C in there.
I'm not judging.
Yeah, I know. I did ask Dan Ward if it was Philippe, just in case it was Continental, but there isn't an E there. But it wouldn't be the first name I've got wrong.
It won't be the last.
It certainly won't. As Tinkler lays it off to Ollie in turn to Story. And now Nicholson laid up to Bailey. Gator just slowing this game down somewhat. Intelligent play with the ball from Gateshead. But JJ closing down, and Jacob sends JJ for the newspaper there as the ball forward wasn't the greatest, and now Toby Lees just dings it along the line. Painter under pressure. Gateshead come away with the ball. We didn't quite see what happened because of the dugout, and now Scott on the left-hand side of the box puts it into the middle, and recovering play from Blyth broke up that from Toby Lees, But Gateshead pick up the ball in midfield through Bailey. Bailey driving forward, picks out Langstaff on the far side. The ball just over his head, but he's going to be able to keep it in on the right-hand touchline. Still driving with the ball, picks out Tinkler. And Tinkler picks up Greenfield on the far side. Back to Tinkler. Still a number of players forward, but Gateshead just happy to sit in possession here. Nothing silly. But you'd like to see them get the ball in the final third as it's laid off to Jacob. Jacob now puts a ball in there. It's a nice run from Kedwin Scott. He needs some support himself, though. And does he win the corner? No, it's kept in. Good play from Blyth Spartans defence. They stood firm there, but the ball goes out for a Blyth throw here just in front of us.
Yeah, good run from Kedwin Scott. I think that's been a feature. The half is this left-hand side from where we are. Is Kedwin just making the most of that space in between? I said it earlier, in between Lees and Buddle.
Well, credit to the Blyth Spartan defenders. They stayed on their feet and made life difficult. But Lees has the ball in his hand now, looking to throw this up the pitch. As he does, intercepted by Ollie. Ollie plays it back to Nicholson. Now it's going to be put across to the other side of the pitch to Tinkler. And Tinkler wants to pass it back to Nicholson, which he does. Let's see where Ollie picks up the ball now inside his own half. Story still inside the Gateshead half at the moment. Story picks out the run of Matty Jacobs, who I think might be offside. No, he isn't. He's on, but he nodded it back to Campbell. Campbell tried to put it through and nodded out by Toby Lees. And it's a throw at the Gateshead. Quickly taken. The captain, Ollie, receives the ball. His touch gets him past J. Joe O'Donnell. He's still driving with the ball, but black and white shirts on to the plenty, but he manages to go to Scott, who now Bailey puts it across to Tinkler. Tinkler puts it across again. Is it gonna stay in? Tinkler keeps it in. He was fouled there, and it's a free kick towards the corner flag on the far side. And well, you were hoping for Tinkler's delivery to be a bit better there.
It's a lovely ball away, by the way, by Bailey.
It was.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Tinkler, when he gets in them positions, normally he's very good. I think it was last game week when I was here when he kicked out Kedwin Scott or Blackett, sorry.
Yeah, Blackett, yeah.
Against York, but yeah, you want him to do better. But this is very dangerous. It's a very.
I still don't know if this is better than a corner, though, do you? I mean, it's only about 5 or maybe 8 yards in from the corner flag.
Well, it's like a short corner in hockey.
Well, we'll see what kind of delivery he can get in.
What I do know is Danny Greenfield's done his own into a box.
And it comes towards the back post. Story's there. It's nothing to clear, though, by Buddle, and it's a throw into Gateshead down on our left-hand side.
Good header from Buddle. He's done well there to track the run.
Story quickly back into place to defend there as Macaulay Langstaff comes over. He's had a player down there. I think he's just...
Jacob, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's just tying his shoelace there. Well, I think both sides would like to go before half-time. Want to extend the lead and want to get back into it as Story calmly plays it into his own half to Nicholson, who's in the centre circle. Plays it across to Danny Greenfield, who's dropped deep on the far side. Oh, and well...
So you meant that.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest of passes, but it found its target. But now it's a throw-in on the far side as Gateshead tried to steal a few yards.
I don't think Mike Williamson's entirely happy with his performance because he's not normally the most animated of managers, but he was getting quite animated there.
Well, I think Gateshead I think very similar to Saturday, just not making the correct choices when moving forward with the ball. But at the moment, it went a little bit scrappy again as Jacob, who we said needs to be careful, he's getting quite physical out there. But it's that type of game.
Nothing wrong with that.
The ball's played back to Mitchell. Mitchell puts this one up towards Painter, who beats Jacob in the air, but the ball, well, judged to have been a throw. Jacob must have got the touch on it. Looked like he had been beaten in the air. There's Toby Lees, former Gateshead loanee, of course, from Harrogate Town.
Strange time here, didn't he?
Sorry?
He had a strange time when he was here. It was sort of looked promising. But
first half of the season, he was one of probably the first names on the team sheet, and then just had a a strange patch of games, and then never really featured after that.
But Jay Cooper came in, didn't he? Really took his place.
Yeah, that's true. Of course, Jay Cooper's just signed for. I'm trying to think who it is. Altrincham, that's right. He's in the National League now.
There's a switch on.
Well, ball through to Langstaff. He's onside. Can he get a shot off? Good save. Oh, and Buddle was there to hook away the ball. Greenfield. Oh, Hickey did enough to put him off there. And Langstaff keeps the ball in on the far side. Plays it back to Tinkler. Tinkler inside now to Bailey. Bailey's under pressure from Connor Thompson. Does well to hold the ball up and give it back to Tinkler. Now, every player bar. Well, as I say that, Lewis Story goes back across the halfway line, inside the Blythe half. Ball played forward, not the greatest of balls. It was a bit of a blind ball. And the ball, well, foul to Gate or throw into Gated on the far side.
Just looking at what's just happened there. Now, Gateshead's goal was very much a case of unselfish play from Kedwin in playing that ball to Macaulay Langstaff. Yeah. We've just had the opposite situation. Langstaff's went for goal. So I wonder what Kedwin Scott's thinking right now.
Although he was on it would have had to have been a ball across goal, wouldn't it, for him to get there, because he's got a defender in front of him. But yeah, it was. I suppose he did have a clear sight of goal to go for there. Wow. Well, we've just seen the scoreline from across the River Tyne there. 2-1 goals at St James's Park. Not as exciting as it is here, though. As we await this free kick to be taken. Didn't actually see what happened there because we were looking at the score on the phone. But a free kick to Blythe. Tinkler wins. Story wins the header. Jacobs there under pressure. Was he fouled?
Do you know what? I think he's got away with one there.
I thought he slipped. I did think he slipped there, but free kick taken very quickly. Looking for the run of Macaulay Langstaff. Armand had to win the header. Little picks up the loose ball. Tries to get past Danny Greenfield. Nice the way he held that up there. Davidix drops deep to get involved. Plays it all the way back to Mitchell. Mitchell quickly closed down by Scott. And his clearance got through to Hickey, who didn't get the greatest contacts, but it paid off for him. It went flying towards the forward line, but passed back to Gates keeper, who clears the ball up the pitch. Davidix, well, his touch let him down there for once. Normally very good. The ball goes out to play on the far side for a throw into Gateshead. Mark, we're entering the final 3 minutes of normal time here, and do you think we're going to see one last golden opportunity here in the first half?
I mean, it's an obvious thing to say Gateshead will be the happier of the two sides being in front, but I think Blythe would be happy to be going in with just that goal deficit. They're still very much in this game.
Well, Marshall played a ball out there and thought it was just a little bit weak, but Gateshead managed to clear it, and Blythe just upping their pressure here in the dying stages of the game, and Gateshead carrying the ball forward. Nice vision there. I think that ball wasn't aimed at Ollie. I think it was aimed at Tinkler, but it's got there in the end. Ollie drives forward. There's not much space to run into, but he's still going. Puts the ball through there for Macaulay Langstaff. Just too much on it. And, you know, when Ollie's running with the ball, his vision, he just seems to pick out some beautiful balls. Just the weight of it wasn't great there.
He doesn't run. He floats.
He certainly did.
Jokes, he looks like he floats across the pitch, which I always think is a sign of a good player. You know, the way they run with the ball like that.
Gateshead now trying to win the ball in midfield. Campbell under pressure here, and Greenfield came flying in there. JJ now plays the ball down the line for Connor Thompson. It just bounced back off his heels, and Gateshead can now try and bring the ball away. Barry Lee's asked if JJ got a good reception. He did. But now Gateshead carry the ball forward. Just pass back to Bailey inside his own half. Now pass across the defence to Story. Story gives it to Danny Greenfield. His first start back since the season started. Hampered by injury, but he's looking sharp out there at the moment as Greenfield plays it back to Marshall. The Aston Villa loanee. Bailey has the ball. Gateshead quite content to keep a hold of it again. Now Story will look to play this ball forward as Greenfield picks it up. Gets it to Jacob, who chests it down. Passes it back to Greenfield. Blythe very tight in midfield at the moment. Gateshead will have to break them down if they get this ball in the final third.
It does look as if they switched to a sort of 4-5-1, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. You can see the two banks of players there. They've got to try and break down. Macaulay Langstaff holds the ball up well. Oh, he nearly picked up the runner of Campbell. But Greenfield tries to put it over the top. Kedwin Scott's onside though. Picks up the ball. He needs players in the box. Drives along the dead ball line. Can he get there? And it comes off him for a goal kick.
Just a little bit heavy, that touch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have been facing up Toby Lees. Lees has done well,
I think his initial look up, though, there wasn't anyone there. The only option was for him to drive with the ball. But as you say, Toby Lees, he's made some crucial interceptions so far.
Yeah, as I say, I mean, we're heading towards
Last 30 seconds,
in the last minute, and as I say, Spartans will be happy to still be in this game. They'll be happy to be going in just a goal down. They haven't really made Marshall make any saves at the moment, and that will disappoint them. So they'll want to improve their setting off. They do have options on the bench.
They've got quite a strike force on the bench as the ball's played forward, and I don't even think Usain Bolt would have got on the end of that one, and it goes for a throw in down here on our left-hand side.
You look at McGuire, Dale, and McNall. You'd imagine maybe two of them three will be on at some point, if not all of them. But Gateshead have managed this game pretty well. I think they would have liked to have been a little bit more in control of possession at times, and maybe to have made Mitchell make a few more saves than he actually has.
We have 1 minute of added on time here at the end of the first half. I thought it might have been 2, to be honest, but we'll see as Little has the ball on the far side.
1 minute additional time.
Bailey having a good tussle with McEwen on the far side as the ball's played forward into no man's land, and really Blythe having to just chase shadows there as Gateshead cleared the ball, but it's dropped to Devidix, who nodded it forward. Blythe trying to pick it up in midfield as Devidix again puts a ball across to Toby Lees. Toby Lees managed to get past Greenfield, and now Connor Thompson's very deep, picks up the ball, starting to run, gets it out to Painter on the right-hand side, and Greenfield came in with a slight tackle. Didn't make a contact, thankfully, because I think that one might have been a yellow or maybe worse. But as the ball still isn't done here, appeals for handball from JJ O'Donnell. As Painter twisting and turning, Bailey does well to put it out, and there is the full-time whistle. Gateshead going 1-0 up here at Gateshead International Stadium. A fine takedown from Kedwin Scott, who put the ball across to Macaulay Langstaff, who finished it with pure precision and power. But Blythe didn't really offer much going forward, Mark. As you said in the later stages of the game, they'll be wanting to make Marshall work at least in this game.
Just got a text from Neil Pinkerton. I think he is right, by the way. I said if they bring all three of those forwards on, they'll make 4 subs.
Yeah.
Which would lead to some questions from the National League, I'm sure. But thanks for that one, Neil. Just looking at the first half, Gateshead obviously, as I say, the happier side, deserve the lead. They have been the better side. Blythe will need to really try and come out and be a little bit braver, I think, and try and get themselves on the front foot. You look at the bench and you look at the likes of McGuire, McNall, Dale. You'd imagine at some point they'll come on, at least 2 of them, Neil. And really,
at least he didn't text me to correct us on something. I'm all right.
And really have a go. Yeah, that'll be coming. But Gateshead have got to come out second half and do what they've done the first half, control it, try and get a second goal. I still think the Spartans are playing too high a line. I think the likes of your Langstaffs, your Scotts, your Campbells can get in if they just make a slightly later run. But at the moment, it's Gateshead's game to win.
It certainly is, and you will not miss a kick here in the second half. Just before we play out a little clip from an interview with the Gateshead Foundation's Ross Black, we'd love to have you join us on the Heat On Me podcast on a Thursday night, 9 p.m. This is a little flavour of what it's like. We get players on, we get fans on from around the world. We talk all about Gateshead, and we'll be back with you before when the second half starts. Well, I don't know what happened at the end of that video. The Gateshead badge was supposed to be behind it, so I don't know what's happened there. But from things looking bad to things looking beautiful, Ross is with us now. How are you doing?
Hi lads, you all right? I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Well.
Got better now, Ross?
Oh, a lot better, thank you.
Good to hear.
Good. See, we had the lads on from Inspired and the team last week, and things are, looking very positive from the foundation. Another string to the bow with the club with that team being introduced. But we spoke to obviously the lads, and there's a lot of work to be done to get that team to the Costa Blanca. Is there anything that you want to add in the way fans can get involved to help with getting them there?
Yeah. So luckily enough, I met the lads today. So we had another meeting with the club and the foundation ourselves. Inspired. We've got now in place 2 bucket collections for upcoming home games. So they'll be announced when it's all set in store. So that'll be good. So the lads as well who will be involved in the tournament will be there. So you can chat to the lads when you're on the way in the ground. Inside the concourse area. I'm sure you'll see them. It'll be good just to get them familiarised with the rest of the fan base. Because they are going to be another Gateshead FC team out there. We're going to have a big push on player sponsorship. As if like the normal first team does, and the ladies team, so you can sponsor a player once the teams are announced. That'll be another big way. We've had talks about potentially doing a 24-hour football match.
Yeah, that was mentioned last week. That'd be
good if we could get that streamed as well, so you can donate whilst watching the stream. That was something we talked about today, which we'd hope to get involved in. And from a foundation point of view, we're all going to be doing. It's not just a one-off thing. We're hoping to take this further so that we can compete under the Gateshead FC banner in Britain, in leagues, in competitions with fellow disability teams up and down the country. And I feel like this is just the start of things to come. Hopefully,
to say that I'll just say this and then Mickey just to say it's another string to the bow. We would say how far we've come in such a short space of time since we all know what happened. To have a ladies team and now moving on to having this and having a disability team is just showing you how much the club is growing and reaching out.
100%. Like I say, we'll get on the other stuff with the foundation as well after we speak about Inspired. But it's great that they felt comfortable to come on board with the foundation and the club. We're building relationships there that are going to take the club to the next level. And I think also we're learning as a club that we are a hub of the community, and I feel like since we've become fan-led and local business-led, it's really had that feel to it, which, of course, we've always had a great relationship when Graham Wood was in charge. This time we've got to go out there and do it ourselves, and I feel like as a foundation, and a shout out to the trustees as well who work non-stop to get these links and make sure that these links are out there, and I feel like we're getting to a point now where we're starting to see a bit of growth and the names out there a lot more. And I think that coincides with the feeling inside the stadium as well. Even before results flew up at the start of the season, it did feel a much more community feel to things. And what I notice as well on a match day is you do see a lot more families there now. And I feel like with the work the foundation's doing, the club's doing, and just the overall match day experience, that can be a good way to start. Seeing all the young lads and lasses coming to see the Gateshead and hopefully being the number 1 team is what you want.
Definitely.
I mean, midweek games, we always struggled. Nearly 900 there on Tuesday. I think the previous Tuesday we had a game was something similar, and getting over 1,000 on a Saturday. So things are starting to go up, and that's got to have something to do with the community-based theme in the club. It's got to have, in my opinion, it does anyway.
Yeah, I think it works hand in hand. I think if you're inside the community as well and enjoying the football club, then it comes to a point where you want supporters there that aren't going to come just when we're doing well. Because at the moment, we've got to capitalise on the good performances we are doing, but we've also got to build a platform where the services we're doing in the community is then reflected in fans being brought on. So that would be one for the future.
I mean, obviously, when the foundation got put in place, it coincided with the pandemic starting, and it was kind of I'm not going to say baptism of fire, but the foundation was maybe drawn into things that it didn't think it was going to be drawn into, and I know it wasn't done for a PR side, but it goes a long way when, people on social media was seeing Ben Clark, the Gateshead Tops out there, people doing things in the club being seen to be active in helping the community when it wasn't about the football, it was about the community and everyone around here, and to make sure everyone was all right. And also on a mental health front as well, with the phone number that was out there. There was so many strings to that bow that were tied up straight away and were put into action that maybe you would think could probably take a little while. I think it put the foundation in a light that maybe elevated it a little bit quicker than what it would have just, reaching out initially. It got knee deep into the community right at the beginning.
Yeah, 100%. Like even just before the pandemic, we were lucky enough to get links with the Gateshead Food Bank, and before one of the home games, we had a big, massive food collection. And I don't think we knew how big it was going to take off and how well the fan base would respond. And the Gateshead Foundation would, the food bank, were over the moon with how much food was brought in by the fan base. They said it was huge, and that's one thing we are still going to do. We had 3 dates slotted in, and due to COVID and the FA Cup and that, we haven't managed to get that done yet. But that's definitely one thing we're going to be doing upcoming. And there's a few things, like Ben and doing such a good job, and the other coaches are on board. We're now in 6 schools in the Gateshead area.
That's fantastic. I know that was always a big thing ever since I've been a Gateshead fan. The club wanting to get into schools, and whether it was a case of getting it done or not having the resources to get it done, having it now in place is just, as I say, we keep saying it. There's so many positives at the moment, and but it all goes down to the hard work of the people behind the foundation. People like yourself and the trustees.
Yeah, the whole trustees, I list them all off, but they probably wouldn't want a thing. But the work they do, behind the scenes, they put in the hard yards, the tender meetings, they apply for grants, they get things done. Like I say, the wont football sessions, they've been very successful. We've got 4 on now in the area.
Selling out, isn't it? We're not selling out. Every time you look, they're full.
Yeah, they're very busy. And the good thing is for me is we're getting different people in of all ages for the open ones, and then the select ones, we're getting people who are coming in for the first time maybe, and they're feeling comfortable. And the good thing for me was I seen 2 people who were seeing the walking football then in the crowd. You know what I mean? And it's something that you hadn't. It's all about one community and one big fan base, and that's what, getting people out there, getting healthy, having exercise, walking football. And I know it's just walking. It sounds silly, but when you do it, it's tough. It's not easy. Yeah.
You don't have to
your first touch is as bad as mine.
But yeah, the Junior Heed Club as well, you'll notice that's on again this Saturday, so for any young kids who are massive Gateshead fans, or even if they're not, they just want to play football, they get a good coaching session with Ben. I've seen him work, he's brilliant at what he does, and that's on every Saturday. You can just go on our website, the Gateshead Foundation website, and you can register there and get that done before match day on a Saturday, so the kids can go have a training session with Ben, and then hopefully come watch the lads at 3 o'clock, And when I was a kid, we went. I just turned up the matches, and I had that on top. It'd be brilliant, and I feel like that would be for the young Heed Army coming through. That would be perfect.
It is. It's as I say, you mentioned that the club's planting seeds, and we're starting to see things flourish from that, and that's someone might be watching now and going, well, it was only 2 people come along, but if you're doing that each month, each year, it keeps building up, and as I say,
they were told quickly straight away that it wasn't anything.
Well, we are waiting for the teams to come back out here at Gateshead International Stadium. If you're just joining us, it's Gateshead 1, Blyth Spartans 0 through a Macaulay Langstaff goal. And we've been speaking to a few people around us here, Mark, and I think obviously the common consensus is more of the same from Gateshead, but maybe just a little bit more clinical.
I think just decision making in the final third every now and then could be a little bit better. The delivery when they get into that final third as well could be better. And I think if they did, I'd argue that the points probably be already in the bag now. But looking at the other side of things, and I said it before, time Spartans be over the moon to still be in the game. They still have more than a good chance of getting something here. So Gateshead, it's all about attitudes now. They've got to come out and show the right attitudes. They've got to come out and do the right things, and keep possession and get that passing game going, keep the tempo high, keep putting Spartans under pressure, and see what happens. But the worst thing they could do is come out and just think this game's won now, because I think that's happened in the past when they played Spartans and they've come a cropper. So Blyth, they're still very much in this game. They will have to up their own tempo. They'll have to maybe be a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more risky. But it's made up to be a good second 45 minutes.
It certainly is. And as ever, it's a fully interactive commentary. We'd love to hear from you and where you're listening from in the world. And we've got one from Everest Binance. He's put, thank you, good stream, good commentators. That's very nice of you to say. Thank you very much. Liv Walton, who I think this is our first game of the season. She sent one. Lovely for her to send in a message, even though she's here. Good start. Hope it continues. And we've got one here from Mark Gaunt. Great to see Danny Greenfield back. It certainly is. He's given a good performance. It'll be interesting to see how many minutes he lasts in the second half, though, Mark. Been out a long time, supremely fit. You can see that. He's got a lot of energy. But sometimes you've just got to nurse some players into it, haven't you?
Well, especially when you've got, Connor Panny and Taylor Charters on the bench as well. Two options that can go like for like and play that midfield role. But it's a big plus having Danny part of this squad, because you were right what you said earlier on, which is the only time I'll ever say that.
I was just about to say thank you.
You look at that half season, or just over half season, that Danny Greenfield had prior to things being broken up again by COVID. He was exceptional. Everything he was doing, you could see the confidence. He scored that goal. It was against Gloucester here when he scored that volley.
The whole story of that season is just a real crying shame that it never got to end properly.
Yeah.
Is that obviously at the beginning of the season he was loaned out, I think it was to Matlock, scored a winning goal in an FA Cup tie. He was loaned out, and it did seem as though maybe that might have been, one of them things where you think, oh, maybe he hasn't really got a future at the club. But he come back in, took his chance, made that central midfield role his own. And let's not forget, Nicky Devitt, of course, plays for Blyth Spartans tonight, one of the great midfielders in this league. And he kept him at the side, week after week. So it just shows you what the young lad is all about and what he's capable of. And hopefully we can see more of the same in the rest of the season.
He's got a chance, and that's a really competitive Gateshead midfield, which I think will probably help him in some ways, because he knows if he drops his levels, you look tonight, you've got Jack Hunter's not playing.
Yeah.
You've got Bailey in there with him. You've got Ollie in there with him. You've got Charters on the bench. You've got Panny. There are so many options in midfield. And I'm fairly certain, I've missed someone. I can't think who it is. But
Elliot Forbes
of
course,
well,
can play midfield as well.
So, there is a lot of competition in the middle of that pitch.
I'll pose a question to you. Obviously, you mentioned about the amount of players that we've got in midfield and very capable. We've brought in Taylor Charters on loan for an initial month. Would you think going into the this part of the season, which every game is massively important now, especially when you're challenging to stay top of the league, would you hazard it? Would you, if you were Mike Williamson, bring him in for try and extend his loan to the end of the season?
I would say that I would probably look at how Greenfield reacts to his first game back.
Yeah.
I would look at if Danny can play another 90 minutes straight away. Would he be able to play 2-3 games off the bounce if he was needed? If he comes back to full fitness,
yeah,
and hits that sort of form that we know he can, then I don't think there's any reason to extend that loan. But it's one of those decisions that Mike's got to make, and it's a big one to make, because Charters has looked all right when I've seen him.
He certainly has. I mean, he came on at half time on Saturday for the injured Jack Hunter, and he slotted in great. He's full of energy. His movement is very good, and we talk about versatility as well. We've said it all year. It seems to be like a key word around Gateshead. But he's one of these players that has that versatility. I think his second game he played left back. He came on and did not look out of place at all. Yeah, we're gone. Well, we've got a couple of ruffians. They're not as bad as the ruffians. Speaking of ruffians, there's one walking past.
Aye, that Cambridge ruffian.
He's like a Norwich version of James Bond.
You might want to say what we're talking about.
It's James Rushmore, obviously that fantastic man who's doing wonders at the club at the moment. You just have to look around the side of the pitch for the sponsors and the the links and partnerships that he's building with Gateshead FC and the local community and businesses and international businesses as well, mate, we add. So hopefully that can continue. And lovely man as well to boot. But the teams are back out. We're about to kick off here. We're underway. Blyth in maroon and orange strips are shooting from right to left towards the River Tyne. Gateshead in their black and white checky tops shooting towards the Felon end as Macaulay Langstaff chases the ball down. It's been hooked clear by Blyth Spartans, nodded on, brought down by McKeown. McKeown has to lay it off. It's played back inside to McKeown, who turns his man well there. He's got little in the space here on the left-hand side. Didn't see him, and that was a good tackle from Gateshead. They win a throw-in on the far side.
I think McKeown there, just a little bit of inexperience showing. Lovely little turn and run away from two Gateshead midfielders, but just need to release the ball a little bit quicker.
Campbell plays it back to Jacobs, who plays it over the top, and that ball goes all the way through to Blyth Spartans. Devitt plays it back to Toby Lees on the far side. Plays it down the line. Gateshead win the ball back though. Greenfield distributes it to Ollie. Now it's passed across the defence to Tinkler, who takes a touch and carries the ball forward, but then stops and plays it back to Alex Nicholson, former Blyth player himself. As he plays the ball through to Ollie. Ollie's touch was nice, but Tinkler didn't anticipate the touch.
I've got to be honest, of all the Spartans players on display tonight, I've been quite impressed with Corey McKeown when he's got the ball. He's looked confident. His decision making hasn't always been the right one, but he certainly looked lively.
He certainly has. When he gets time to move on the ball, he's got into space. But talking about the man there, he just plays it back to Captain Nathan Buddle. Buddle plays it back to Mitchell under pressure from Kedwin Scott, and Mitchell pings the ball up the pitch, brought down by Painter on the far side, who came on as a substitute for the injured Rhys Evans. Ball played down the line. It's been kept under control by JJ O'Donnell. It's a little bit scrappy over there. JJ managed to turn his man and come away with the ball, and down he goes for a free kick. Sorry, that was Painter. Very similar build.
Very different age.
You said that, not me. Well, free kick, 2 yards inside Blyth Spartans' own half on the far side of the pitch. Just while there's a little lull in play, please do subscribe and share the podcast and commentary. This ball comes up towards the edge of the box. Buddles there, wins the header. Couldn't pick out a teammate and been hooked clear by Tinkler and Kedwin Scott, who was anticipating the ball to go through, but Armand manages to give it to the captain, Buddle. Buddle. David passed it forward, and that was a nice nod down by McKeown. That picks out Connor Thompson on the left-hand side of the box, puts it across, and Gateshead just managed to go clear, but only as far as a Blythe shirt, and JJ O'Donnell slipped. Now a shot comes in. Great save from Marshall. It come through a crowd of players, and it managed to be hooked clear by Gateshead, and that's the best we've seen from Blythe Spartans so far in this match.
Really the first save that Marshall's had to make. Great bit of play from Thompson. Excellent from, I think it was Jordan Hickey.
Lovely brought down there by Scott. Peels in. Macaulay Langstaff. He's on the right-hand side of the box. He's still going. His touch was heavy, and out it goes for a goal kick. But that was a nice bit of control from Kedwin Scott. I didn't think it was going to sit up for him there.
Didn't, but well done from Armand as well. He's done well to just hold back. Hold back. Sounds like he's fouled him to get back in the game and get Langstaff under control. But yeah, dangerous moments there for Gateshead, by the way.
Well, that will put a lot of fans' minds at ease with that save from Marshall. The first one he's had to make, really, in the Gateshead shirt, because he couldn't really do much about the 3 goals on Saturday. And obviously replacing Chapman, who was very solid. It's a big ask to come in as an 18-year-old, and he's calmed a few nerves, I think, there.
It is, but he comes with good pedigree. He's come from Villa, Premier League club, and he was on the bench in the Premier League not so long ago. I think when they played Norwich before Christmas, was it? So he's clearly highly rated there.
Well, the ball played now down the line by Painter, and Nicholson's there, and it's put out of play on the halfway line on the far side. Well, it's so just having a look around me here. There's a fair amount along the Tyneware stand to our right, a few around our left, and a lot behind us. So hopefully, I'll say it'll be over 1,000. A good travelling contingent. You would say 300 on the far side from Blythe Spartans, but Connor Thompson brings the ball down. Gateshead manages to pass it out of play there. Well, they did go out of play. Little comes to take the throw in. Connor Thompson being told to get further forward there. as we still await this throw to come in. Not much movement from the Blythe players. It's passed deep to Devidix. Devidix pings the ball forward, and well, that was wasted really for our Blythe. And it's a goal kick to Gateshead.
Again, much like the first half, a lively start to the half, but neither side really looking in control of possession. It's all been a bit rushed so far, but we said that in the first half.
It certainly would, and I think, obviously you'd like to see Gateshead get another goal, but I don't think that'll settle the game down. I think it'll still be like this.
I probably agree with that.
I think Blythe, they'll keep going till the very end, and that's the dangerous thing here. Is a lovely chest down from Scott, but he couldn't get it to Danny Greenfield, and now Gateshead intercepted in midfield. Is brought down now by Danny Greenfield. He's got Macaulay Langstaff on his right. He picks him out, but Blythe defence get back. Now Ollie has the ball, centre of the pitch, looking for the dink through to Kedwin Scott. Can he finish it? Offside flag goes up, but he missed his shot. And well, I'd like to say that on the replay because I think that'll be quite close. Nice vision from Ollie though there. We mentioned it in the first half. I mean, he wasn't running with the ball there, but he just had the vision to pick out that pass.
It was a lovely idea, wasn't it? It's that ball over the top from Ollie. I think it's the only thing he could have done with it, really.
Tinkler wins the header. McKeown nods it down. Little plays it inside to Devidix, who's going to play that ball again, looking for the run of Connor Thompson. And we've seen Devidix try that probably about 5 times in this game, and it hasn't come off yet. But you've got to fear it still because he's very capable of putting in a fantastic cross or a through ball with that left foot.
It's kind of similar to what we spoke about first half.
A lovely turn from Ollie, but Blythe closing down the angles, and they've got to throw in for their troubles.
When I was talking first half about Kedwin Scott on the left of where we are, and working that sort of space in between the full back and the centre backs. Now, Connor Thompson's doing a very similar thing. He just hasn't been found yet by anyone. Never mind just Devidix. But it's something Gateshead just have to be aware of. That run of Thompson, he's one of the quickest players in the Blythe side, if not the quickest. So if he gets away, I don't think there's too many who will catch him.
Well, Devidix receives the ball here, has to play it all the way back to Toby. Toby Lees has to play it to Buddle. Now Buddle clears it up the pitch. Another former Gateshead player. McEwen brings the ball down. Tinkler busts a good to get back and cover it and closes him down. McEwen slips and Gateshead managed to come away with the ball, and the ball comes off Little for a throw into Gateshead. It's all being played in a 20-yard area at the moment, this ball, but now the ball's being played over the top. It's not going to reach a Gateshead player, and Buddle heads it clear. As Connor Thompson loses out to Bailey, and Ollie's ball forward goes out of play in front of the Gateshead dugout for a throw-in.
It's all gone incredibly scrappy.
It certainly has. 53 minutes gone. If you are just joining us, Gateshead 1, Blythe Spartans 0. Macaulay Langstaff with the goal that separates the two sides at the moment. Tinkler just boots that ball clear, and out it goes for another throw, and it has went very, very scrappy at the moment. It's congested with players around about Gateshead's back line at the moment. They just need to push out a little bit, get more control of the ball. The Blythe obviously know that it'll stifle Gateshead's play if they can close it down at the back, as Marshall comes through, gets the ball, and JJ O'Donnell was flying in there, and well, for a millisecond I didn't know if Marshall was going to get there, but he did.
Yeah, he's done pretty well in the end, but just for a second it did look as if JJ O'Donnell was going to nick that ball. Time
stood still for a little period there as Ollie controls the ball, gets past the Blythe player, brought down by Hickey, who cuts a frustrated figure at the moment.
I think that's going to either be a booking or a final warning.
No, I think it'll be a final warning. Oh, no, he's reaching for the cards. We haven't mentioned Hickey much at all in this second half, so frustration might have...
Apart from that shot.
Yeah, apart from that shot, yeah. Didn't realise it was Hickey that got it off. I was more concentrating on the save. Apologies to anyone listening from Blythe. But there we've got Rama Sharu has asked what the score is. It's 1-0 to Gateshead. Macaulay Langstaff with the goal that separates the sides. As now as Gateshead open up down left-hand side as Jacob just ran into trouble, and Blythe can try and bring the ball away now as Devidix just claws that one away nearly up towards Connor Thompson. And We mentioned scrappy, but that's the way to describe it. But Blythe try and break now, and a little foul from Campbell just catches the ankles of the player trying to get away. I think it might have been Painter on the far side that he caught.
You do think, set pieces could be a route back in for Blythe.
They've got the height. You've got Buddle coming up, who is probably the tallest man on the pitch.
Buddle, Armand Lee's coming forward.
Yeah. Painter and Little are the furthest men back for Blythe here. It's a yellow card given to Adam Campbell as we await the free kick to be taken. I think it's J.J. O'Donnell that's going to take this one. Oh no, it's Devidick, sorry. Devidick's going to put this one in with that left foot. It goes in there. It's a dangerous one, but bounced in front of everyone, straight through the keeper. Keeper distributes that quickly, but it's going to be intercepted by Little, but Little couldn't find the teammates, and now Gateshead can try and just pass the way out of this as Tinkler just holds it up nicely. Oh, and that's a ball back to Story. That wasn't the greatest. Story dealt with it, and that was reminiscent of what happened on Saturday. Gateshead inviting on a little bit of trouble there.
I do get that, and there were some dissenting voices behind us here in the tiny way stand. But look, this is the way that Gateshead play. They're very good at playing that way as well, and that's the way they'll be encouraged to play by Mike Williamson.
Oh, now Campbell picks up the ball, goes for a dink shot, and it come through to, unfortunately, I took a deflection. I think Ollie manages to guide it to Campbell, and the shot was, he had an audacious one earlier on in the first half, and that one was just as audacious there.
That was an interesting conversation on the Heat Army Facebook page about Adam Campbell the other day.
Yeah, I don't know if it was someone just trying to wind up people asking about Adam Campbell.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, it did work. It got a reaction from people. But the ball brought down by Connor Thompson. Didn't manage to pick out a teammate, but the ball wasn't the greatest away. And now Little has the overlap here of Nicky Devidix. Nicky Devidix is going to get the ball now on the left-hand side. He's got Robbie Tinkler in front of him. Can he get past his man? Puts it in right-footed, straight through to the goalkeeper. And that eases the pressure on the Gateshead defence.
There's just little flashes here from Spartans.
Yeah.
And Gateshead just haven't quite hit the stride in the second half yet. We're coming up towards the hour mark. I think they just need to be a little bit careful. The problem is you don't want Spartans to, from a Gateshead point of view, you don't want Spartans getting too confident and trying little things that maybe they wouldn't have done. I do wonder if there's going to be a change.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. Would you maybe go for Taylor Charters for Danny Greenfield, maybe like for like, and try and keep the structure we've got and the attacking presence we've got? As Bailey brings the ball forward now, puts it out to Matty Jacob on the left hand side, lays it back to Campbell. Campbell looking for a run from his midfielders, but spots Tinkler on the right hand side. Now getting it to get numbers in the box and the ball in, but it's passed back to Macaulay Langstaff. Langstaff back to Tinkler. Tinkler has support from Campbell. Tinkler holding the ball up. Now Campbell has the ball. Plays it inside to Ollie. Lovely first touch. Oh! And Kedwin Scott just wasn't there. To be honest, I thought he was going to turn and shoot there. A beautiful bit of control from Ollie in the box. But
nice and patient. First time they've done it in the second half, Gateshead. Just, they haven't tried to rush things. They've just passed it nice and calm. And you need to do that more, because I think if they do, they'll start creating chances.
I'm looking forward to seeing that bit of control on Ollie again in the highlights.
It's just been exceptional tonight.
Just stopped it dead. 59 minutes gone. If you are just joining us, it's 1-0 here to Gateshead against Blyth Spartans. Gateshead can go top of the league with the result here today as J.J. O'Donnell brings it down the edge of the box. He's got players around him, goes for the shot himself. Now it's been cleared by Lewis Story, and that was...
Again, it's little moments here from Spartans.
Yeah.
You can see
getting that space.
Growing. There's a little bit of a buzz about them now.
Yeah, they're starting to get a little bit of a wind in the sail as we wait for this throw-in to come in. Deviditz gives it back to Little. Little gets past Ollie, puts a cross into the box, and a shot header away there by Connor Thompson. It wasn't Connor Thompson. It was trying to see which shirt number that is there. Is it Painter? No, it's J.J. O'Donnell.
He's the one who played here for about 8 years.
Yeah, I know. It's
You know, the one who's been on his show loads.
He has been on the show. But as I said before, he's a very similar build to a couple of the other Blyth Spartans players.
You know what it is? It's a great header as well, and a lovely ball in down here. Spartans really, at the minute, you wouldn't say they're on top, but they do look more likely.
Well, Marshall brings the ball out the box. He wants someone to show for him here. Not under pressure at all from Blyth Spartans. He's just standing 25 yards out with the ball at his feet. Now pumps it out towards the left wing, towards Matty Jacob. Matty Jacob wins the header. Nicely nodded on by Scott. Scott plays. Oh, now it's through to Macaulay Longstaff. Can he get the shot off? He can. Good save from Mitchell corner. And, well, I was just about to criticise the decision making there, but it ended up with a decent shot.
No, I think Marshall's just looking for something there, and there's no movement, for him. But credit the young lad. You mentioned he's 18, but he's done brilliantly there because he's just held his composure midway inside his half. He's picked a brilliant ball to Jacob. It's a lovely build-up, and all of a sudden that's what Gateshead can do. That quick movement. They've got him behind, and another good save, I should say, from Mitchell.
That's what Jacob gives you. I mean, and also we've seen a lot of intelligent play from Kedwin Scott today. He's held it up well. He's laid it off well. But we've got another corner coming in from Greg Ollie on the far side. 61 minutes here, and it's laid off short to Campbell. Campbell on the edge of the box goes for his shot. Oh, the keeper has to fist it clear. And Blythe managed to bring it away. And Greenfield there with a bit of... the Blythe bench were appealing for a foul there. He just blocked his run. They were both running there. The player didn't go down. Intelligent play from Greenfield. And, well, there's interesting scores around from the region. I'm going to ask you a question, Mark. You've had the pleasure of speaking to the new South Shields manager, Kevin Phillips. Do you think, I'm not going to say he's regretting taking the role, but do you think he might have been in line to either be assistant manager at Sunderland? No.
I think he would have been interested in it, maybe, but I don't think he would have got the job.
You certainly think, as a legend he is there, and he's time as a coach at other clubs. But it's all about Gateshead here and a throw into Gateshead on the far side of the pitch.
I'm just looking at Gateshead there. They're trying to play out from the back. The one thing I will say is I don't think the midfield have done Louis Story any favours there because they're stood. There's a big gap between defence and midfield, so there's no obvious pass out. But again, these little things, they're giving Spartans a bit of hope, and I think at the minute they'll be the happier of the two sides despite the fact they're one down.
Ball nodded back up towards Gateshead defence. Matty Jacob pings the ball over the top. What a clearance. Bud will be there just to nod it back to his keeper. And he was under pressure from Scott, so he had to do that right. Blythe trying to build out from the back as now Mitchell pumps it up. Bailey nods it up to... Oh, thought he should have brought that down there, Ollie, but Blythe can now bring the ball forward on the left-hand side through Liddell. Plays it into McEwen. Nice turn. McEwen tries to get to Connor Thompson, which he does. Good first touch from him. He's turning around. He went down in the box. Ball going to be cleared by Gateshead now. As now Greenfield can bring it away. And the ball put over the top and just relieving the pressure. Not going to pick out a Gateshead shirt as Armand plays it back to Mitchell. Yeah, we've never had that normal flow of what we see from Gateshead throughout the season, and Blythe they'll be happy with that. They'll be happy that they've disrupted that somewhat. As McEwen tries to bring it down and Ollie picks it up in the centre circle. Bailey pings it out to Campbell. Campbell gets there and controls the ball. Ollie, the ball to him was just behind him. And Gateshead chased the ball down again as Liddell just turns his man, plays it inside to Buddle. Now it's passed all the way back to Mitchell from Deverdix. Now Armand. Oh, and Armand was just in two minds there. Pass it back to Mitchell. Mitchell clears it with ease. Nicholson heads it back up. Deverdix brings it down in midfield. Now he's going to play, looking for the run of a Blythe forward player. And once again, his forward balls just haven't reached anybody and no one's made the run. But that wasn't the greatest ball forward.
Well, it wasn't, but you can see what he's trying to do. And we mentioned again, that left-hand side, that they're trying to get people in down this left-hand side, and the run just hasn't been made for him. So I think Deverdix is trying the right things, but it's just not happening at the moment. Again, I will say, I think Gateshead just need to find the levels that they reached in the first half.
There's a couple of Blythe substitutes warming up down to our left-hand side. I think Dan Maguire's one of them.
Maguire and McNall, isn't it?
Yeah. As now Bailey plays it across to Tinkler. Tinkler back into Ollie. Nicholson plays it back to Marshall. Marshall touched back across to Nicholson. Blythe closing down angles at the moment. Tinkler got there in front of it. Headed on. Oh, and can. Yes, Greenfield picks up the loose ball. Oh, tries to thread it through for Scott. And Little still going with the ball, somewhat fortunately there. Don't know how he kept the hold of that.
He's done brilliantly there, to be fair to him.
Yeah. Well, Buddle now looks to play this ball long. Although he plays it along the grass and it's straight into Bailey's feet. Now Ollie. Ollie's got support from Langstaff. There's two players in the box. Can he get a cross in? Straight in. Oh, and it's going to fall to Campbell. 2-0! And Gateshead have put another one in the back of the net. It's been an edgy game, but hopefully that will calm some nerves.
Yeah, Spartans defensively just caught out there. It's a great ball in, to be fair. And you've got to feel for Mitchell. He hasn't had any favours from his defence. He's tried to farm it. It's all he could really do, the power and the cross. You want one of your defenders to try and read that and read what's going to happen. It hasn't happened. Campbell ain't going to miss from 6 yards out, is he? Well, maybe a little bit more than 6 yards, but
that was what we were lacking on Saturday. The second man to be there for the bounce of the ball, but poked it home into the back of the net. And we criticised Langstaff a little bit for not returning the favour in the first half, but he certainly did it there.
Yeah, he did. He's done really well, to be honest. I think he tried to pick out Kedwin Scott in the middle, and Mitchell's just read it. Just couldn't keep hold of the cross, obviously, with the power on it.
And am I right? Is that Campbell? Is that his 9th goal of the season, or possibly his 10th? So, and could be another player in double figures for Gateshead.
If not, I'd imagine he will be by the end of the season.
Well, throw into Gateshead on the far side. Greenfield brings the ball down, tries to pick out the. Oh, he did pick out the run of Kedwin Scott. The Blythe defence was guilty of just standing still there. And, well, that looked like it rolled out there when Mitchell picked it up. Well, Gateshead fans are certainly coming alive here with the scoreline 2-0. Macaulay Langstaff and Kedwin and Adam Campbell scoring the goals, but Gateshead on the attack again. As Langstaff cuts in himself, takes a deflection. It's going to bounce out for a corner to Gateshead here.
These are really dangerous moments from Blythe, because at the minute this game's going to run away from them.
Yeah, you just, well, I'll say not from a Gateshead perspective, but for a Blythe perspective, a few other heads have dropped there because they were a little bit static there. Well, the captain, Greg Ollie, he's got the ball where he wants to place it. For taking his corner on our right-hand side. As he whips this one in towards the near post, headed clear. And, Campbell comes in for his second and just couldn't get the connection he wanted. As I say, we said he had a couple of audacious efforts, but it was probably one of the easiest goals he'll score all season for the one that he got.
Second sub the night responding with Dan Maguire coming on.
Yeah, Blythe, if they're going to get back into this goal, they need to have a man to put the ball in the back of the net. And Maguire hasn't hit the ground running just yet in a Blythe shirt in his second stint, but he has to be feared.
It's technically his third stint.
Didn't realise that. Now Ollie gets the ball, plays it over the top for the foot race between Macaulay Langstaff, and he's going to keep this one in, but the busting a gut. There's other players to get into the box. As Langstaff drives into the box, can he get a shot off? He can. Straight into the arms of Mitchell, but credit to Adam Campbell there. He was absolutely flying to get into that penalty box. Well, now Blythe tried to bring the ball forward. Good tackle on the far side, throw into Blythe, and I think we're going to see the introduction of Dan Maguire, and I would hazard to guess it might be McKeown. Nope, it's going to be Toby Lee. So it looks like they're going to go for at the back now, Blythe Spartans. Sure, the Gateshead attackers will like to see that there's one less to run past. Or try and run past. Don't want to be too presumptuous.
I think they'll probably go on a diamond in midfield, so you'll be looking at David Dixon O'Donnell as sort of 2 with E behind them, and then McKeown will play as like a 10 in behind Maguire and Thompson.
Well,
sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'll say We almost sounded good, didn't we? It's a free kick to Blythe, which is quickly taken over the top, looking for the run of Maguire, but Nicholson's there just to pump that ball out into the stands.
If I was Terry Mitchell, I'd be foaming for that. I've got Maguire, who has got 3 men on him, and just lumping the ball up like that.
Cross into the box, it's deep, there's nobody there, and Blythe, Little is busting the gut to keep it in. He isn't going to get there, and he's just pulled up. The front of the thigh went there as well, I think. Yeah, he's done. Unfortunately, Michael Little's evening. He's been one of the better players for Blythe this evening. He knows it.
I think it'd be Jordan Watson coming on. Jordan Watson can slot in at left back.
Well, that's got to be a massive blow to Terry Mitchell because, the substitution happening, he could get carded because he's come back on the pitch to disrupt play here, make a little bit of gamesmanship. But that now really hampers Terry Mitchell's plans of trying to add anything more to his attack.
It's over in terms of, trying to bring another attacking threat on.
Yeah.
Jordan Watson won't let anyone down at left back. He's one of the most reliable lads in North East non-league football for me.
Well, Watson is on to replace Little. You can see he's holding just above his thigh, above his knee there. He grabbed it immediately, didn't he? As ever, we never like to see a player leave the pitch injured, and we hope he's back soon. But his evening is over here, and he's walking very gingerly. But if you're just joining us, it's Gateshead 2, Blyth Spartans 0. 71 minutes gone here at Gateshead International Stadium, and the Heat Army are in fine voice enjoying this as it stands. But we've got 20 minutes or so remaining here at Gateshead International Stadium. A long way to go. A lot can happen. But Gateshead at the moment looking to get one over the old foes. Hickey in the centre circle. Picks out Davidix. Davidix quickly closed down by Greg Ollie. Lays it off to Armand. Armand's closed down as well. Again, he's going to have to play. Well, I thought he was going to play it back there. He did very well. I thought he was going to play it back.
He's had a good game tonight, Armand. I think he's done pretty well. He's highly rated at Sunderland.
Yeah, he's done all right so far. Ball played over the top, looking for the run of Maguire, and that just skips off the surface and out for a goal kick to Gateshead.
Yeah, so as we say that, in terms of subs, that's it for Spartans. That's
their
race round.
I know Robbie Dale is getting on in age, but he always seems to turn back the years against Gateshead in recent times, and in when he was a young whippersnapper as well. But let's say we're not seeing him tonight. Gateshead winning 2-0 here and looking to get the ball forward again as Bailey nods it on to Campbell. Campbell, lovely flick to Langstaff. Langstaff brings it down. He's on the edge of the box on the far side. Can he pick out a teammate? He's picked out Ollie. Ollie now goes for the shot. Grass cutter deflected. Oh, and it has to be hooked out clear on the far side.
Spawn's gone to the man down as well.
Oh, yeah. It looks like... is that JJ or McKeown? One of the two. No, it must be JJ O'Donnell. Yeah, another player that's feeling it tonight.
From a Spartans point of view, results elsewhere aren't too bad in itself for getting beat.
Yeah, and I believe Spennymore's game against Chorley was called off at the last minute, wasn't it? I think Spennymoore actually got down to Chorley, and I believe it was heavy rain. It was bogged the pitch.
It was.
Well, that ball is going to bounce through for a goal kick. Gateshead fans enjoying themselves, but at the moment, Ian Watson and Mike Williamson will be happy with what they're seeing at the moment, especially with the scoreline. They're deep in conversation at the moment, and we've got about 16 minutes remaining. Will we see a change as Tinkler holds the ball up and gives it to Ollie? Ollie's ball to Bailey wasn't the greatest, but it comes off a Blythe player for a throw into Gateshead.
I'll tell you one player who won't be coming on is the manager himself. Because
there's no need, is there?
Well, not just that, but he's sat.
Substitution for Blythe Spartans.
Well, we've got a weather report from... I thought it was the attendance there. Ansgar Field has told us that it hasn't stopped raining down here for days. Not shocked about Chorley. He lives very close in the Bolton area, so...
Thanks very much, Michael Fish.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope the Gateshead contingent are enjoying it. let us know where you listen from in the world as well. We'd love to hear from you.
You have to feel for Spenny that were going all the way down there and pitch inspection half free, got past, and then it's really unfortunate.
I
I'm
mean,
sure the joint managers won't be bothered given the fact they live along the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. Obviously, at this level, your money's at a paramount at the front, and you don't want to have probably a close to £600 journey gone as the ball's played over the top there, and that's going to bounce out to play for a throw in near the corner flag on our right hand side.
If it's rugby, you're over the moon. That's a great kick for touch.
Well, the referee wants that taken back. Watson tried to steal about 10 yards, maybe a little bit more. He only goes back about 5, but he'll come running back to where he originally threw it. So I never get why they send him back, do you? Well, as we await this throw, Watson gets it up to Maguire, who chests it down. And nice play from Tinkler, sees that out and throw into Gateshead.
I think it's one of them now with a third goal kills it.
It certainly does. And I mean, obviously, on second the ball's played through there and hooked clear by Hickey. If Gateshead go top the league with this result on goal difference, and they'll want to keep that goal difference up. So you wouldn't be shocked if they tried to go for 1 or maybe 2 more here. As now, brought down by Jacob, and he's going to get the ball back. Can he finish it? Offside. Well, offside flag came up. That was another close one. But great stuff from the left back there. He's playing like Macaulay Langstaff.
You just look at Gateshead now, and you look at the look. That second goal's just reinvigorated them a little bit, and they look as if the confidence is there. You know, Saturday will have shocked the players. There's no doubt about that. You know, being so well beaten by a title rival, but I think there's a long way to go yet, and I still at the start of the season.
We've got 2 of 1 things are either going to happen here at Gateshead Stadium. Either the Joker is going to appear on the far side because there's been a green flare thrown over there, or Blyth are celebrating something that hasn't happened. That's unfortunate scenes. We don't want to see that. We are going to see Connor Panny come on, the youngster who has come through the Gateshead Academy here and highly rated. He's going to come on for Danny Greenfield to start his first games of the season here this evening, and he didn't look like he's missed a beat. Looked like he's been playing all season, and he leaves the pitch on the far side, and Connor Panny is about to come on here, number 17. He turned 18 just a few months ago, and I see he's a good 6-footer, and you think there's probably a few more inches in him. He's, and if he fills out, we've already seen what he can be like on the ball.
I think he's a real prospect, Connor. I mean, any time I've seen him, and that includes in pre-season, I think he looks a real prospect. He's got the build to cope at this level. He's good on the ball. Not scared to put a tackle in. I think he's a real player.
Oh, lovely feet from Ollie, and he's just been fouled there, but free kick to Gateshead. Into the 78th minute we are. Gateshead with a 2-goal lead. Langstaff and Campbell, the men with the goals, but you've got to say Kedwin Scott has played a massive part in both of those.
It's been excellent tonight.
Ball over the top, looking for Macaulay Langstaff, headed away by Watson. Tinkler comes forward, pumps the ball over the top. Mitchell's going to get there. Well, Mitchell, the ball to Hickey. That looked like he got caught out there and kept well in there on the far side. As Blyth get to win the ball back here. Now, Ollie. Danny Greenfield getting a fantastic reception from the Gateshead fans as he comes round the pitch to go back to the sub bench, and now Campbell is on the ball. Not many players venturing forward at the moment. Gateshead happy to pass the ball about. Macaulay Langstaff is played it forward to Ollie. Ollie has support, but he goes inside himself, still going, goes for a shot, tries to get a curler there, and out it goes for the goal kick. But a nice reception there for Danny Greenfield.
Very nice, and a good 75 minutes in the bank for him. And, you know, hopefully there'll be no reaction tomorrow to that first sort of length of game that he's played for a while. But such a key player as well.
Certainly is. He just slotted right back in there. Like he hadn't been away, as Ian Watson's very animated on the touchline there. Wants to see the players win the ball. as Maguire brings the ball down there, appeals for handball behind us, but well, free kick given there. Ollie judged to have brought or tugged on the back of the shirt of Maguire, taken quickly. Davidix plays it out to the far side. Painter gives it back to Davidix. Davidix not getting the movement he wanted, but Painter manages to win a throw in for his troubles.
2-0 can be a dangerous scoreline.
Well, Maguire, he's battling on that side, and it's a goal kick. Well, I don't know what Maguire's fitness levels are, but he seems to have added just that little bit of bite that Blyth have been missing so far. I mean, I know that it hasn't produced any cast iron chance there, but it looks better having the player hustle and bustle in that final third.
He's just an out-and-out striker. He's someone who will occupy defenders, and haven't really had that so far. Spartans, Connor Thompson's more of a sort of wide man or secondary striker. Then you've got McKeown, who is an attacking midfielder. So
ball over the top part. Painter to try and run over, out it goes for a Gateshead throw, and Gateshead fans showing their appreciation at the minute. Their side's beating the rivals 2-0 at the moment. Honours will be even across the season over the two games. But thus far, if it stays like this, a convincing win from Gateshead. But Blyth, they're still part of it, as the ball goes through to Marshall.
you call it routine, wouldn't you? It's been
Yeah,
a professional performance for large parts.
You would have to say that, when the game started, we looked, Blyth didn't have an out-and-out striker on the pitch. And the way the game's been, as with Langstaff latches onto this ball on the left-hand side, he's got men in the middle to aim for, but he's still got to get past people. He goes down to the dead ball lane, cuts it back. Oh, Kedwin Scott was coming in and it was cleared. And now J.J. O'Donnell dinks the ball forward to, I think it's Davidix. Davidix just cuts back on himself, plays a crossfield ball looking for the run of McKeown. McKeown's never going to get there, and it bounces out. And nearly got there. I know, famous last words there. I thought, oh no. But Tinkler did enough to see that out for a throw to Gateshead. Any interesting scores from around the region?
Kieran Trippier's just scored for Newcastle.
Oh, well, there you go. So Tyneside will be a happy place tonight if it stays like this. As the ball is played forward, Panny wins a header up in the air, wins the second header from his own header.
It also takes Newcastle out of the bottom three.
Oh, there we go. And, well, we see the bigger side going top of the league and the middles getting out of the bottom three there. As it's a goal kick to Gateshead. Mark's just shaking his head there. It isn't, it's a corner actually.
I'm laughing.
Yeah, he's not laughing with me, he's laughing at me.
I said this on the ITV build-up of the game. Gateshead are a massive part of football on Tyneside, and I stand true with that. You look at clubs, the non-league scene on Tyneside, it's thriving.
This is a corner here to Blyth Spartans. Davidix puts it in. It's a dangerous one, headed clear by Story, and Campbell's going to be there to hook it out for a throw-in. And just on the far side, hoping that we aren't going to see any bother there. There's a lot of Blyth fans congregated down to the front of the stand, a lot of stewards there.
Just trying to keep warm.
Yeah, well, they're dancing up and down. Hopefully, there's nothing to miss. There's the ball, free kick to Gateshead inside the own penalty area, and it is a free kick. Into the 84th minute, Gateshead 2-0. If you're joining us in the later stages, Macaulay Langstaff broke the scoreline on, broke the deadlock, should I say. I think it was 7 or 8 minutes. He put that in the back of the net, and then it was Adam Campbell doubled the lead in the second half here. But well-worked goals between the front three on all the goals. Both the goals. As Panny picks up the ball, just couldn't control it. Hickey just takes it off his feet, passes it across the Painter on the far side. Painter just turns, passes it back to Buddle. Buddle plays it to Painter. Painter down the line. Gateshead managed to win the ball. Ends up Buddle going to chase this down. Buddle now plays the ball long, looking for Maguire, and Maguire will be frustrated with that because he's not, up against two big centre backs. He isn't going to want the ball at his head.
No, I agree. And Dan, he's not the tallest striker, but
Oh, and a bad ball in midfield there from Blythe as Langstaff plays it through to Kedwin Scott. Oh, he's had to dance around the player, still controlling it. Was he fouled? Referee says no, cleared away. The ball wouldn't sit up for Kedwin Scott, and a dangerous ball through from JJ O'Donnell, and Marshall come out to clear that one. But that was the type of ball that
was danger at both ends.
It certainly was, but that was the type of ball that Daviditz has been trying to put through all game. But that was more central. We are going to see Macaulay Langstaff come off. He's leading goal scorer this season, but he's going to be replaced by Taylor Charters. And now, the last 5 minutes of the game, Gateshead surely just trying to tighten things up in midfield.
I don't think it's even that. I think it's just to rest Langstaff, to give him
the 7, Macaulay Langstaff, in the place by number 25, Taylor Charters.
Taylor Charters on loan from Carlisle United. And yeah, I know. I think it's just young Blythe fans trying to make the stewards work by running along the stand. I know they've left the place they should be in that stand. So hopefully with no silliness over there as Watson plays it inside to Daviditz. Daviditz was dispossessed by Panny. Good stuff from the youngster. Now Blythe try and bring the ball forward. Campbell intercepts it now. Macaulay Langstaff. It's Kedwin Scott driving through, but can he get a shot off? He can. Oh, just past the post. He did very well. Ormond was tracking back with him, pushed him wide. But that was a great chance. And to be honest, Kedwin Scott deserves a goal tonight.
He's been exceptional. Every single thing he's done on the ball and off the ball has been very good. He's been one of Gateshead's best players on the night. I think along with Greg Ollie, I think the two of them have been exceptional.
Nicholson with the powerful header there. Daviditz manages to win the ball in the aerial challenge with Panny. Plays it across the painter on the far side. Blythe still pushing to get a goal here. There's 4 minutes remaining of normal time. You would imagine we're going to have 3, maybe 4 minutes of added on time. We've had all the substitutes. Couldn't be kept in by Connor Thompson on the far side. Throw into Gateshead.
Gateshead just looked the better of the two sides, haven't they? They've been more convincing.
I think it's been more sensible play, especially after Saturday. Nothing too silly. They've got players forward, but they haven't overcommitted. And maybe a few lessons learned from Saturday. And Mike's always, you freely admit that they'll look back at the tapes and learn from the mistakes. And tonight, I think we've probably seen that so far. As we just got a Gateshead legend there, just giving us a tap on the shoulder, celebrating. It was Ben Clark.
Sorry, I didn't realise.
Yeah.
Good, I was going to knock him out.
Well, we'll send that audio to Ben Clark.
Please don't.
Ball played over the top here for Kedwin Scott. Can he get there? Ormond does well to win the header. Buddle nods it on only as far as Ollie. Ollie picks out Panny. Panny, nice little dink to Campbell, who finds himself on the corner of the box. Puts a cheeky one in there, straight into the arms of Terry Mitchell. Not Terry Mitchell. I was going to say Terry Mitchell isn't that far. Alex Mitchell.
I think.
Now, I must admit, I sometimes confuse players, but you cannot confuse Terry Mitchell for anybody else. So, JJ O'Donnell going down in a heap there.
The thing I will say, I know we're going into the last, there's only 3 minutes left in terms of normal time, but Spartans get one now.
Be edgy. And
this is dangerous, by the way, midway inside the.
Well, especially when we know what Nicky Daviditz can do, the deliveries can give. You've got Buddle coming up here, obviously Ormond as well, and then you've got the threat of Maguire if the ball falls to him in the box. But Gateshead will have to defend this one. It's quite a high line, 4 or 5 yards from the edge of the box. In it comes. It's going towards Buddle, and he was on top of. Did have both his hands on Tinkler's shoulders. I don't think he had to do that, to be honest. I think he could have won that header without having to do that. But
what I will say is, I think it hasn't been a great performance from Spartans for large parts, but I think they've got enough to stay in this league. Let's be honest, not so long ago we weren't sure if that was going to happen. From Gateshead's point of view, there's a lot of positives.
Well, we've got a minute and a half or a minute and a quarter remaining of normal time here.
And one thing we shouldn't ignore, the clean sheet at the moment for Marshall.
Yeah, that's got to be a big shot in the arm for him. And as I mentioned, that important save he made from Hickey will, as I say, just rest a few nerves as well, because the young man's come in, replacing a player that was a bit of a fan favourite. Everyone was comfortable with him. He made some fantastic saves. We spoke to him on the Heed Army podcast. Lovely bit of skill there by Gateshead. And we go back to them two Mask games. Or Mask, should I say. It was Gateshead now in on goal. Can we get a finish here from Taylor Charters? We can! 3-0! Gateshead with clinical finish at the end there. The loanee from from Carlisle United just buried that one into the back of the net. And Blythe's night has been rounded off here with that third goal.
Really well worked, wasn't it? Good run down the left. I'm not massively sure the keeper will be overly pleased with being beaten on his near post there, Alex Mitchell. But it's a good strike. He's kept putting on target. That's all he can do, and just rounds off a pretty comfortable win for Gateshead.
And it's nice to see Taylor Charters get a goal on his loan spell here. He's done very well in a Gateshead shirt. And Gateshead fans saying we are top of the league. We certainly are. Something catastrophic for Gateshead to lose this one from here. 3 minutes remain, but just as I was saying there, obviously Gateshead fans will be, a little bit of happiness that Marshall possibly has kept a clean sheet here so far, pulled off a great save, because Chapman had an awesome season here, learned a lot, grew in stature, and to lose him, it was a bit of a blow, but this young man stepped up.
Yeah, I mean, Chapman was decent. He wasn't without his faults, though.
Yeah, definitely, but as I say, he's a young keeper, still learning, but the ball comes over the top. Scott is chasing it down. Armand has to control it. He's got Scott all over his back with pressure. Does very well, hasn't fouled him, still making him work with the ball. Clears it off Ollie, and Gateshead, could they be in here for a fourth? As Kedwin Scott has the ball, can he lay it off to somebody? The Blythe defence came across well there, and now it's out with Ollie on. Oh, Armand did well to clear it. I think he has. I don't know what foot, must have been a pull on his shirt. I was following the ball, but yeah. Well, the thing is, you mentioned Chapman without his faults, but a lot of goalkeepers probably might not like the ball at the feet now, although I know it's a new thing. A lot of players have to play with the ball at the feet. And the way Gateshead play it will make a player play from back. Well, a drop ball free kick. I can't understand why on earth that was, but we'll take it as now Jacob puts a ball in. And nearly snuck in under the bar. And, a very interesting scoreline around the Northern Premier League there. One thing I can guarantee, the lights won't go out at that game. Wow. And, someone tells me it's going to be a bit of injury time there as well. Down to 9 men, did you say there, Morton?
Yeah, thinking again.
And they're winning 1-0, so wow.
South Shields 1-0.
Well, we talked about a tasty game here. I think it probably is up there.
I mean, it's been competitive here, but it's never been.
No, we never went to a melting pot, but Gateshead, as we said, have seen it out. It's been a well played game from Gateshead. Nothing overzealous, and they passed it around. But we're into the probably last minute and a half here of injury time. As Buddle is going to clear this ball up the pitch. There's nobody there. Only Story to nod it back to Story from Matty Jacob. Who would you give man of the match to? For our man of the match. Ball played.
Like I said, it's an absolute toss-up between Greg Ollie and Kedwin Scott.
I was going to say Kedwin would be mine, but there is the full-time whistle. Gateshead get revenge for their defeat earlier in the season and move back top of the league on goal difference. It doesn't matter that it's goal difference. They're still top of the league because they have earned it through those goals scored. And tonight was a good performance, a solid performance, and they've went out on top of their local rivals.
Yeah, a real clinical performance from Gateshead.
We've got a little bit of antics here. Blythe fans storm onto the pitch, just youngsters being J.J. O'Donnell's doing the right thing, telling them to get up back in the stand. That's, just a little bit of youth there, not using their head. They're going back into the stand. But as we were saying, a good performance by Gateshead, a great performance. They did nothing silly. We've seen Marshall pull out a great save when called upon, and the forward line worked great as a unit. And Kedwin Scott, I think we'll give Kedwin Scott our man of the match because he linked up both goals. He worked phenomenally hard, held the ball up well, linked play, and just a great all-round performance from the big striker.
I just think looking at the performance from Gateshead tonight, it's exactly what they needed after Saturday. That shock of the Fylde defeat. It's a performance they needed. No real drawners. Clean sheet for the young lad in goal. A real complete team performance, barring little bits when Blyth looked as if they were starting to get back into the game. It's a real chance for Gateshead to kick on now. I'll say it again, I think Spartans will be all right this season. But looking at this performance of Gateshead, it's another foundation to build, another run on that will hopefully take them to what we hope will be promotion.
Certainly will. Well, Mark, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's always a pleasure. And to get the players celebrating here, they've really enjoyed that one. And how often can a referee leave the pitch without any abuse? But say the referee wasn't involved, didn't have to be involved really. We've seen a couple of yellow cards for things that probably were yellow cards. But on the whole, Gateshead, they've earned it today. They probably had another gear to go into if needed. But Gateshead go back top of the league here tonight on Tuesday night. We'll be back with you with the Heat Army podcast on Thursday night at 9 p.m. Please do join us. Lots to talk about, lots to celebrate. But we have two games to talk about as well. Two very different performances. Two different results, should I say. They give their all on the game on Saturday. But we all be talking about. Please do join us, share the podcast, subscribe, and we will see you next time.